Good evening, everyone. This meeting is called to order. The combined work session, March 11th, 6 PM. May 11th, 6 PM. Go, please rise for the pledge of allegiance. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Brusher.
Here.
Councilmember Coyle.
Here.
Councilmember Harris.
Here.
Councilmember Patel.
Here.
Councilmember Patil.
Here.
Councilmember Pointer. Councilmembership Freeman.
Here.
Madam Clerk, adequate notice.
Adequate notice of this meeting as required by the Open Public Meeting Act of 1975 has been provided by the annual notice sent to the Home News Tribune, Star Ledger, Sentinel, and Desi Talk on November 25th, 2021, and posted in Main Lobby Municipal Complex on that same date.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to item 4, report from all council committees. To my left, Councilman Ajay Patil. Any comments?
None, sir.
Okay. And Councilman Patel?
None, sir.
And Councilman Rich Brescher?
I'll let Council Vice President give the report from the Board of Ed.
Okay. And Councilwoman Harris?
Ditto on Councilship Freeman giving the report on the Board of Ed.
Okay. And Councilwoman Joyce, well, wait up.
Okay.
But, you know, give him some time to settle in. Councilwoman Joyce Freeman?
We had a Board of Ed meeting. We were just discussing things about about Jackson Avenue, but Sergeant Doug Turner was not there, so we didn't get all the information on that. But what's happening is they're still trying to get more students for their police officers training program in the summer. They've extended it to the high school, and they have some for the middle school. That's what they're working on right now. And not too much else it was really not that much information given out that day, so that was fine at all. And then we had the library board meeting. In the library board meeting, all everybody's concerned about is when the money will actually come from the state, so we can move forward. And everybody knows bureaucracy, and you're getting, I know it's promised to us, so it should be coming. So they said before the end of the year, we should be looking forward to building upon that. And next month, we will be having a Veterans Committee meeting, and also a public safety meeting also will be on the schedule for next month. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Vice President. Councilman John Pointer, any committee meeting reports?
None at this time, sir, and apologies for my tardiness.
No, it's fine. I understand you're in traffic. Just moving to 5. Did I miss anybody? We're good? Okay. Moving to 5, our points of light here. Any points of light for any council members?
Council President?
Yes.
I have a couple of things. First of all, I'd like to remind everybody that the ribbon cutting for the gazebo from the Edison Arts Council is to take place next Wednesday, the 18th at 5:30 p.m., and that's weather permitting. So far, the weather looks good. So let's keep our fingers crossed and keep the rain gods away. I'd also like to point out that May is National Mental Health Awareness Month, very near and dear to me. And I've said this before in previous council meetings where the last couple of years have been especially trying when it's come to the issue of mental health and people who are really struggling. And that's true also with the whole substance abuse community. I literally just read something today about the fact that deaths from substance abuse have skyrocketed. I think last year was a record year for that. So just reminding everybody to make sure that if you know somebody who is struggling, to contact whatever mental health practitioner you can. It's difficult, availability is not really good, but one of the best resources to find people is psychologytoday.com. It's probably how most of my patients find me, psychologytoday.com, and people can filter through there to, if they're gender-wise, if they want a male or a female, they can put in their insurance, whatever insurance they have, and put in their zip code. And so it tailors the search to what's more personal for the person in need. So just want to put that out there. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilwoman Harris. Any other
Council President,
points of light? Yes, Council Vice President?
yes. Jay Elliott has sent out papers for seniors because we're having the Memorial Day Parade on May 28th. And he sent out information which seniors do not have a ride or are unable to get there. You can contact them through the health department or either recreation. They have applications for you to fill out to get there because they want everybody to enjoy themselves after leading up to I think the Legion Hall. Yeah, I believe the Legion Hall. And they will be serving hot dogs, hamburgers, baked beans, the whole big thing going on. But I want all seniors to know and be aware that if they have a problem getting there, starting from Division Street, they can contact Jay Elliott. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Vice President. Any other points of light, comments?
Council President, they
Yes,
have the
Councilman
dates for the e-recycling. I think it's next weekend or something.
I'm sorry,
E-recycling, electronic recycling. if you have.
that's coming
Okay,
up.
perfect. Thank you.
We got it on my list. Okay. Just the points light that I have here is Saturday, May 14th, Lake Papiani, electronic recycling from 9 to 12. TVs, printers, and fax machines, you can drop off there and probably a little bit more. Sunday, May 15th, the Mayor's Bike Tour. And Saturday, May 28th, Memorial Day Parade, 12 noon on Plainfield Avenue. Moving forward to item 6, from the Department of Finance, A through D. Any comments or questions from council members? Hearing none, moving forward to 7, from the Department of Health, A. Any questions or comments from council members?
Council President?
Yes, Councilman Brescher.
Yes, is this replacing a bus or we're just buying an extra bus?
Council President, we have someone here from the Health Department that can answer those questions.
Fantastic.
Hi. It's a brand new bus where we're adding to the fleet.
We're adding to the fleet.
Correct.
Are we going to give more services? I assume this is for seniors.
Correct.
And we're going to provide more services? Like I heard my council vice president a couple times saying we're going to pick you up and drop you here. And is this so we can do all of that?
Right.
All right. Oh,
Correct.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
I just wanted to also add to that, there are actually funds from 2021, and it's for 2 buses. So right now, because of the demand,
Council President, may I, that last night was giving off a whole lot of problems, the one that you're at, Sonia, so in order to move that out the way, because they had problems all last night.
One has to
Not
be
to disturb you. but
One
that's-
may have to
yeah.
be shut off.
Apologize. So there are actually 2 buses that we were allocating for this. However, because of the supply demand, we can only purchase 1. We're better off doing that, and this is for a passenger vehicle. They do have other ones, but they're not, you can't do anything with passengers on it. It's just a shell. So right now, we're going to purchase 1, and then in the future, once one becomes available, we'll make the second purchase in case there's any questions in the future.
Thank you very much. Moving forward to 8 from the Department of Law. First, do any questions or comments on A? Hearing none, we have another, we have a resolution that we tabled last meeting, which is R7604222. I'd like a motion from a council member to add this to the consent agenda.
Council President, which,
What is it?
This motion is the resolution authorizing the mayor, township clerk to execute a shared service agreement with the Edison Board of Education and the maintenance of use of cricket pitches.
I don't have that in the packet, I don't know.
Okay, we need a motion to remove from the agenda.
From the table, 'cause it was tabled last meeting.
Understood, but was there any reason that was not included in the agenda? And it is coming from the
To
floor?
untable the procedure.
But we have to untable it.
Okay, I got it. We have to untable it.
Correct.
We're untabling it. That's the motion I'm requesting is to untable this. Have a motion to untable this resolution that was tabled last meeting.
I make a motion that we untable.
I second.
Councilman
Council
Ship
President?
and Council Vice President. You have council comments?
Yes. I mean, this was tabled, I guess, because we didn't have information. I did receive some information, and that made it more confusing. In fact, I had questions later on about the volleyball. We rent out, our rec department rents out space to adults, besides cricket, I believe. Softball, volleyball, different types of organizations that a rec department does. And they rent out part of our schools, but they don't charge the school rate, they charge our rec department rate. And what came up with the cricket was, the cricket, they weren't charging the township rate, we were charging the Board of Education rate. So, I mean, what I'm saying, I guess, is somehow I'd like to see this corrected. I'm not debating whether it's $140 or $500. But if we're gonna rent out Herbert Hoover for volleyball, let's say, then the township rec department should be billing out at the Board of Education's rates like they are for cricket, which is in this resolution. And then the town should be giving that money to the Board of Education. What I'm saying is that in this resolution, we are only singling out the cricket, and I thought we were gonna try and resolve it before we were gonna bring that back, and no one's had those conversations. I've asked Ginny and Bureau about this. You know, I sent them the email about these other leagues that are being used at the schools, and they're kind of unaware. So the Board of Education hasn't approved even the rates yet, and they're required by their law to approve the rates every year. Okay, so the Board of Ed has not approved any of the rates this year, and then we're looking to approve something that they haven't had approved. I don't know, I think we're just trying to push it through, and, you know, we should get it right, is where I'm going with it, that's all.
Council President, I have
Councilman
a
Rush,
different concern, question
Yeah,
to the
sure.
attorney. There is no resolution to untable to begin with. My question is a parliamentary process to this attorney. Why this is not added on the agenda rather than untabling? You can do it in the same meeting, not in the following meeting. You cannot circumvent the process of just doing something illegally. I'm using the word illegally. Let's follow the parliamentary process. If you want to move the motion to put down an agenda, my question would be why you are doing this? Why we are even having the agenda? Put everything on the floor if you don't want to bring the transparency. I'm perfectly fine, you are perfectly fine whether, it should be voted or not voted. I'm not against that. I'm again asking for the transparency. Why this is not part of the agenda?
Councilman, this was a.
The question is to the attorney.
Okay.
Council President.
Sure, go ahead. You want to answer?
President.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I think, Councilman, if I understand your question, you're asking, why is it not on the printed agenda so that members of the public could see that it was going to be voted on this evening? A resolution can be added at a council meeting
Understood.
without being published. So
Understood.
the notion that it could be taken from the table, as it was, is also an appropriate parliamentary procedure. So I understand what you're saying. You're talking about transparency.
Correct.
But if you're asking me whether or not it's illegal to do it in this way, it is not. You
No.
can, as a body, decide that you want to take it off the table and vote on it.
Understood, but you cannot untable it. You have to move a motion to add this on the agenda, tonight's agenda.
Well, they have the same effect.
No, there's no same effect.
Okay.
There's no same effect.
Councilman, if we can do both, if it makes it satisfactory to you, I'll do both. I'll do a
No, you
motion to
feel free
table
to
it.
do
I'll
both,
do a
but
motion
what-
to table
what-
it, and I'll do a motion to add it to the consent agenda.
Feel free to do both, but I'm questioning your integrity and your transparency of not having this on the consent agenda.
I'm not disagreeing with your opinion.
Okay, so you agree with my opinion, there is no transparency
I
and there is no
understand.
integrity. You feel free to move the motion. Thank you.
You have an opinion, it's fine. It's my understanding the mayor met with the cricket teams and settled this, and there was no issue. So I'm going to continue with the motion that's on the floor right
So
now.
you
to
cannot,
untable.
this is, as I said, this is not the parliamentary process. You need to move somebody has to move the motion, to add this on the consent agenda.
Okay. Councilman Patil, we're going to do this first, and we're going to do what you want second. Okay? We're going to do both processes.
Feel free to do whatever, but again, I'm asking to
Okay,
put
what's
this
on the floor
consent
right
agenda.
now is to take it from the table. We had a motion from Councilwoman Joyce Shipp and a second from Councilman Patel. And can I have a roll call, Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Brescher.
No.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
No for lack of transparency.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes. Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman. Council President Quayle.
Yes.
Okay, so it's removed from the table.
And Madam Clerk, we're going to do another, request a motion from the council members to add this to the consent agenda, 276-042-22. Motion to add this to the consent agenda.
I make a motion to add it to the consent agenda.
Second.
Ship, and second by Councilwoman Harris. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Brescher.
No.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
No for transparency.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Quayle.
Yes. Move,
This is now added to R 276-042022 is added to the consent agenda.
thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to 9 from the Department of Planning and Engineering, A, B, C, and D.
Council President,
Yes.
on D, this is again very good thing that we are moving forward with the master plan, but my question is this resolution says $160,000, whereas the supporting document number is $145,000. Question to administration, why there is a discrepancy?
Your, your question relates to the pricing that's
Correct.
listed on the proposal. So when we went back and actually read through the proposal, which we, this is a proposal for professional services, so it does not go to the lowest bidder, if you will. But in looking at it further, there were built-in fees, and we thought that that was not the structure we wanted to go through. So after some review and negotiating with the contractor, it was from 145 to 160.
Okay, why is was not reflected in the supporting document?
We can have that updated with the proposal, but the resolution stands where it's 160.
Understood, but again, this is a lack of transparency. You are updating it with your negotiation with the vendor, whereas you didn't send it to the council saying, hey, you know, there is a change, and here is the updated supporting document.
I disagree, but we can certainly send up the proposal with the updated changes.
No, you can send it, tonight is voting, we are voting on this.
The resolution as it stands, it's 160.
Understand, but this council is voting on the resolution tonight, right?
For 160, sir.
Yes, and you are going to send me the update afterward. You're going to send the updates after the fact, after this is voted.
The contracts always usually come after the resolution.
Contract, it's the, okay. I think I need to ask a question to the attorney. Attorney, the supporting document says $145,000.
I'm sorry.
$145,000 for this resolution.
Mhm.
Whereas this resolution says $160,000.
Right.
Right, my question is if administration went back and negotiated with vendor, which I don't have a problem, but why the supporting document cannot reflect the right number?
The document can be amended, as long as whatever the number set forth in the resolution is what is approved by the governing body.
Understood, but governing body approves the resolution based on the supporting document, correct? That supporting document is not correct.
I think the administrator provided clarification. If you don't feel sufficient, I understand, but I think she has clarified.
Understood, but what she's saying is after fact, she's going to send me the update, right?
Correct.
So vote is tonight as a courtesy when the negotiation happened, and if you knew that this was on agenda, you could have sent that email, hey, council members, there is an update to this resolution, 160,000 is the price. I'm fine to vote, I'm not agreeing with that. I'm talking about, are we really doing the right thing here? That's my question here. Are we acting in all in good faith and in a transparency? That's my question here. You can update whatever you want after fact, but my question is, if I'm going to vote tonight, and you are saying you negotiated, which I don't think any of the council members were aware of your negotiation.
I wouldn't normally involve the council in a negotiation, but if that's something that's been done in the past and I might have overlooked, but just as professionals, we bring forth you the documents, and what I'm giving you is the background to it. The resolution as it stands, I can't go back and tell them that their proposal is right when they have to amend it based on the resolution that the council passed.
I'm not debating about you getting this council involved in your negotiation. My question to you is why you did not update this council or the clerk that there is a change in the supporting document that reflects the resolution.
Councilman,
I don't want to go around in circles, but I've answered your question about the change in the negotiation that took place. I
When?
mean, I'm going to give you the same answer. I don't know that you're asking for a different
Okay,
result.
when did the negotiation happen?
Excuse me?
When did the negotiation happen?
It just happened last 24 hours, sir.
Give me the 24 hours means it could be a minute ago, but just before printing the agenda? When did it happen?
I don't know where
Councilman,
you're trying to.
if I may also give some information that's come to light, is that the reason for the increase is that there may be more public meetings than was originally anticipated. And for that reason, that's why
Right.
there was.
I understand, I'm not denying that. What I'm saying is, if there is a change in a number, why this council was not informed? That's my question. I'm not debating 160, 190, 200. It needs to be paid what it's going to complete this project. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not disagreeing even with your resolution. What I'm saying is, where is the transparency? If you are negotiating some numbers and you're asking this body to approve this resolution without giving them the facts, the numbers have been changed. If no one looks at those numbers behind the scene, we are just approving the blank numbers here.
Yeah,
Just
Councilman,
want to point out,
your
we
point,
are voting on 160, and that is the transparency right there. I
No,
believe-
you are voting on 160 because you have been told to vote on 160. What my question is different. My question is why this council was not updated with this number. That's my question. My question is different.
Councilman,
I'm also supporting. That's not a question here.
Councilman, your point is taken, and I understand your argument.
I
The,
feel like it's being circulated. the argument.
there's a variance of $15,000 between what is in the supporting documents and what's in the resolution. And I understand your point.
Councilman, it could be half year salary of one of the municipal employees. Just
Yeah,
remember that.
I'm not disagreeing with your argument. You have the right to have an opinion. The documents say 145,000, our resolution says 160. If this council moves forward with this resolution, we're voting on the 160.
I
And
understand.
that's the transparency.
I understand, Council President. You are moving because you have the votes to get it approved. I'm not questioning that. My questioning that you need to start accepting the facts. We lack the transparency. That's my question.
I'm comfortable with the $15,000 variance, and I got support from the
You know,
attorney.
I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable. What I'm saying is, before we came to this council chamber, if we'd have received the notification that there is 160,000, there is a change, and we'll support that.
We can do a better job next time, and I'm sorry.
Thank you. Thank you for acknowledging.
Council President, I'm just looking at the original email from Friday. It says 160,000. So I'm not sure where the discrepancy is coming from.
Supporting document.
It's the supporting documents.
Yeah, and we've
Yeah.
voted,
Yeah.
this council has voted on contracts before where the supporting document was under the amount. And I've asked before that the not to exceed is simply more of a precautionary item that we go up. The supporting documents can be under that amount.
This resolution doesn't say, normally the resolution, the wording would say here not to exceed 160. It's not here not to exceed 160. Behind the scene it could be, but I'm looking at supporting document, and I'm not just talking just for the sake of, argument here.
No.
But thank you, Council President, for
Thank you.
acknowledging.
We're moving forward.
Council President?
Thank you. Yes, Councilman Besher.
Yes, I understand what my council colleague is basically saying. What we received, just so the public knows, what we received is an RFP, which dictates what everybody was supposed to bid, and everybody here got that, right? I don't think there's a council person here that would say they didn't receive it. And then we received bids, and of the bids, we had a bid that was $53,000 lower than this person we're giving this to. and I understand that we don't have to give it to the lowest bidder, right? Because it's a professional service. The companies were all viable companies. You know, a lot of them I do kind of know from the industry. But we didn't give it to the low bidder. We gave it to the second low bidder. And we didn't give it to him for that number. We gave it to him for a larger number. Now, typically, if you were to do this, like if this were my company and my people were to come to me and give me this, I would have received that RFP, and each line item would have been checked off for each bid to show that every line item was included. And then you would have added or subtracted, because maybe some people didn't add money for certain items, right? And that could add to your number to make it 160. I don't know, but we weren't supplied that supporting document to tell us that it's 160, just that they wanted to make it more. We might as well make it, you know, by Councilman Pointer, without taking sarcasm out of it, using your line of thought, we could make it 300,000, right? Because they're only going to spend that lesser amount anyway. And what I'll do is I'm going to make a request of the administration. If I could get legal and engineering, their contracts from last year, and then what they billed for those two contracts. Because I think what you're going to end up finding out is that they end up billing what we approve at the end of the day, or very, very close to it. But you should know that moving forward, so that, you know, you don't feel comfortable on just wanting to approve higher amounts. But my question was, what did you find wrong with the bidder that was $50-something thousand, you know, less in your analysis?
Sorry, there's a delay on this microphone. Based on the analysis, it is with regard to technical management, of course, cost is a component in looking at these. There were some reviews, there were some references checked. We felt that this was the most qualified candidate to do the master plan.
Okay, so it wasn't really based on price. Now, that goes to another thing. This is very, very important, not only for this body, but for every resident that is here in Edison on who we hire. I don't know that we had enough time to even vet the people that you have to see that other townships that they've worked within are happy with the work that they've done. Like, we had somebody do a master plan, whatever, 20 years ago, and if you asked our residents, they're very unhappy with that plan. So if they would have done work in other towns 10 years ago, and we would check with, you know, how their towns feel about them, and you had some of those references coming back from those towns, you know, like that would help. But just being put on the agenda without the, you know, the document. In fact, what I was sent today, Cheryl sent me, I received 4 documents, of which 2 of them I could not open on my phone. And my laptop, which we've talked about, right, that I couldn't even get open. So I'm requesting actually a new, like a laptop, not whatever you seem to give council people, but just so that we could review all the documents. I mean, I just got that and looked at that today to find out that we picked someone, because it didn't make any sense, because I didn't have anybody that we even picked. I thought we were going through the process of
Councilman,
picking someone.
moving forward to the administration, what I'm hearing from the council members here is that if there's going to be a variation, difference in number, that we need some more clarification with an email prior to the meeting. And I think that's what I'm hearing from the 2 council members. If you can do that, please, it'd be much appreciated.
Absolutely.
Moving forward, any other questions from A, B, C, and D? I have another addition to the agenda, where we're adding, was it ordinance 0214522, chapter 14, the building construction subchapter for fees. You have a motion to add this to the agenda? I know, we're good? We're just adding it. Okay, we're just adding this to the agenda.
Council President?
Any council comments?
Yep, Council President.
Yes.
Question to, I don't know who should ask the question now. These fees, yes, they were overdue to increase some places. But I have a concern about some of the fees, knowing the fact that the way this township works, especially a subsequent permit fee or the revision. Everywhere, wherever is the subsequent fees or revision, normally this is done by, not done by the, how do I put this? By the township employee. Normally this is done by the consulting company. So indirectly, we are trying to pay more to the consultant through this mechanism. So what I would ask our administrator is to provide the details on the how much township received in terms of the fees and how much was paid to the earlier consulting company. Because what I heard that most of those fees goes to the consulting company, even though they are the township fees. But again, I would be interested in that report. But coming back to my question, the other question here is, are these fees comparable to the neighboring towns?
We did do an analysis, and based on that, if, excuse me.
Just make sure that when you did the analysis, the service level is also considered. That's very important.
Yes, absolutely, and that's what we did, and I actually asked other colleagues in other towns regarding this that were not in the area, and I think we were pretty on the low end, so I think passing this ordinance would be favorable to the township, and also would be creating a better process for this as well, so.
Is there a way that we can get that your study, the analysis, what the neighboring towns pay? Okay,
Absolutely. We'll send that to
I
you.
just gave it to you, Councilman.
You'll give it, okay,
Okay.
I'll follow up as my follow-up, as I have tried in the last few meetings. I will send all of answers to questions from tonight's meeting along with any supporting
No,
documents.
those two
So-
fees I'm fine, I looked at this, those two fees I'm not concerned. I'm concerned about very specifically about the revision, the subsequent permit fee, subsequent revision, that's my concern. Rest is fine.
The follow-up, okay.
Yeah, the follow, because that's normally is our lack of our response. First thing is the time, it costs the applicant more time, and the second thing is, it could be 10 times and the cost would go significantly high.
Yeah, I will say, one of the mechanisms in doing the research is that one town did whatever the hourly rate was for the engineering employee, times, times that whatever, hours were billed, and then put into the escrow. So we kind of looked at the different mechanisms, but we thought that building the fees right there and then would be the best course of action. I don't think you want to do everything too extreme right off the bat, so.
Right. Again, as I said, my concern was only on the revision submission. Rest is all fine. I'm not worried about the rest. And the reason my concern is there is, if we don't provide the good service, and because of our own reason, it's my experience in the township. If I go there, they will tell me 5 things. Next time I go there, they will tell me another 2 things. And next time I go there, altogether different 2 things. So it's going to be, that continuous process, and I don't want residents to get penalized for, their issues there.
I understand, and part of this is to restructure, re-emphasize a process. And that means it's going down to the employees as well. So I can provide that all to you.
Perfect. Yep. As long as there is a
background.
commitment to improve the service, I'm perfectly fine.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you, Council
Thank you,
President.
Councilman, and I'm glad you see some points here. I mean, I'm happy to see some increases here, especially for the subdivisions, the commercial subdivisions from $300 to $1,500. I think it's long overdue, some of the fees in here. Any other council comments on the addition to the agenda?
Council President?
Yes, Councilman Brescher.
Sonia, quick question. We had, in looking at the budget, right, I see that in that department, we're increasing the amount of money that we're spending, which would tell me then that we have more building going on, right? And that would make sense. But then when I look at the revenue side, it looks like that actually goes down, right? So is this increase priced into the budget that you gave us, or would you then be revising those numbers if we approve this tonight, for the fees in that department?
So typically, we wouldn't revise it. What would it come towards the end of it? It would be, we can't predict more than what collected in terms of revenue. So we have to allocate whatever it is that we collected in 2021. So we can't go back and revise that portion of the revenue collection, if that's what you're asking me?
Yeah, what I'm saying is that we're showing a number for this year, right, which is different from last year. And I hear that, you know, our permits and stuff are down this year compared to years prior. And I do understand that, but being that we're going to increase these fees, that would change the revenue that they're going to bring in, correct?
I would hope so, but we would only know that next year when we calculate all of the revenue for 2022. That would be the I guess the idea that once you increase fees, you're potentially going to collect more. If not, depending on, I mean, there are variables in terms of development, what's going to happen. Are people going to continue to do construction in their homes? So I can't predict the future, but certainly bringing the fees up would, I'm sure there would be an analysis provided to you once we present the new budget in 2023 to let you know what the revenues were. But I can't predict that for you right now.
Councilman, what I'm hearing is that we can't calculate anticipated revenue. I think it's a good question you have,
Well,
because we may get some extra money here.
Right, I mean, my question is, if I owned a hamburger joint and I charged 50 cents for a hamburger, and I'm allocating 100,000 hamburgers, I know how much money I'm getting. And then if I'm going to increase it by Y, right, I would add that, and that would be what that difference is that I'm looking for.
Council President, I don't think it's just that simple. It's not
You
that
can't do
simple.
that in municipal
You can't-
government.
it's
I'm sorry, I don't
government.
mean to
don't
cut
do
you
that.
off.
Yeah, it's not that simple. It's not.
I understand your question, I just don't think
Yeah.
by law they can anticipate it to put it in the budget for anticipated revenue, because it's not a guaranteed revenue.
You're using the number then that you took in last year as your number.
Correct, sir.
Okay.
Councilman, what I do like, if there's any surplus from that department, we can discuss where that money's going.
Flowers.
Now, hey now, and I think it should go to parks. But, thank you, Councilman Brescher. Any other questions from council members from the Department of Planning and Engineering? Hearing none, moving forward to the Department of Public Works, A and B. Any questions or comments from council members?
Council President,
Yes, Councilman Brescher?
B, I think I recall that we bought wood, this is for the community garden, right? We bought,
I am sorry, I didn't get a hold of Ray, I apologize. It was already 4 o'clock, and I didn't ask him specifically. I'm assuming, and assuming is not good, but I am assuming that's what it's for.
right, so well, I think that's what it's for, huh?
It does. I'm sorry, right, it
It
does
says
say,
it on
sorry,
there
it does
what
say
it
right
is.
on
It
the
says
bottom
it.
here.
Okay, so, but we approved wood for that, I think, last meeting or the meeting
Yeah,
before.
prior to this meeting, we did approve some cedar wood for that, yes.
Are we changing the design for the garden?
Sorry. There's no design change as far as I'm concerned. I think what we're seeing is the demand of product in the industry, so we're ordering things as they become available. Is that what you're referencing?
Well, I believe I think Councilman Pointer pointed out that we were buying cedar because we weren't going to put down the pressure-treated lumber, right? And we bought, I don't know, whatever we bought, 17,000, 15,000, whatever we bought worth of it. And now you're coming back and you want another 6,600. So I'm asking you, did we change the design? Or why are we seeking an additional $6,600 in wood from something we just approved a couple weeks ago?
I think this is in addition to this lumber here that's being purchased this evening, well, the resolution that's on for this evening.
So, Sonia, are you telling us that prior to this, there was a supply chain issue, you would have purchased $12,000 worth of wood, but you could only purchase $6,000 at that time? Or did you change the design? That's the question we have.
As far as I'm concerned, the design has not changed.
It was just a supply chain issue with not being able to purchase
Right.
wood prior to
We are
that.
doing it in-house, so,
Yeah,
by
but
the time
that's-
you're getting things, and it's taking a little bit of time. But the money itself allocated for the project's the same. That hasn't changed. So if you want to see exactly what we spent thus far, I can certainly provide that to you.
Yeah, I'd like to see like a breakdown for it, right? Because.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right, I thought I was fully approving what the garden cost, and we did the fence, and, so I thought I was good, but now it's like every 2 weeks we're adding. So I don't know where we are at the end of the day.
Thank you, Councilman Brescher. Any other questions from council members? Moving forward, Department of Recreation, A, B, and C. Any questions or comments from council members?
Council President?
Yes, Councilman Brescher.
Yes. I'll start with C. There is $172,000 in engineering fee for turf field for Papanani Park. That fee, where are those funds coming from?
From capital funds?
From last year? Or from this year?
I'm just looking at the account number here. I'm not looking at it as far as where it's coming from. I don't have that on here.
Councilmember, would you mind if we
Oh, I'm
just,
sorry, yes. This is coming from 2020. However, it's being executed this year, just to clarify that. So all of the work is being done now in 2022.
Okay, can I just get a list of the money that you had left in capital and then how you're allocating it? For this year, from last year, from
Sure.
2020? Because we had the same thing with the Jets field, right, where the money was coming out of last year's capital. And I'm just trying to figure out how we're going to pay for the things we have this year.
What I can do is provide, or maybe Cheryl, we can get the ordinances for all of the council members that have specific monies allocated for special projects. We can do that.
Okay. And then B, the volleyball teams. These are for the children's volleyball? Adults? And where do they play? The volleyball?
I'd have to get that information for you, where they play. Which
Okay.
park you're referring to.
Yes. And that they get is like this is a reimbursement, so they pay like $200 and then they get back like $50 if they clean up and they take care of everything, correct?
They stayed in good standing.
But that's what the good standing is for them just to
Yes.
make sure that they
Correct, the
clean up.
$50 reimbursement, yeah.
Yes. Okay, yeah, if you can get that to me, hopefully before we vote on the cricket thing, just tell me what parks they play in.
Sure.
Thank you.
thank you, Councilman Brescher. Any other comments?
Council President?
Yes.
Question in regards to C. In the bid package, it had the approximate cost for the turf fields, but it clarifies it as various turf fields. Is that amount that's figured in there figured for both fields, like all encompassing? Because I know, obviously, we have the football field and then part of the baseball field.
Yeah, this is it's going to be used for the baseball field, just for this one project, so it's
So
gonna be
it's
combined.
per each,
Yeah, it's
project.
combined with, we're going to do the football field and the baseball field as one bid document.
All right, thank you.
Any other comments from council members? Hearing none, moving to 12 from the chief of the fire, approval of volunteer firefighters. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, moving forward to the chief of police. A, any questions or comments from council members? Hearing none, moving to 14 from the township clerk. A, any questions or comments from council members? Hearing none. 15 from the council member of the planning board. Councilman Porter?
Thank you, Council President. No action or no meeting since the last meeting. The next one is Monday, May 16th at 7 PM here in council chambers. Thank you.
Thank you. 16, unfinished business ordinance, further consideration, public hearing, final adoption. Any questions or comments from council members?
Council President,
Yes.
question to administration. The ordinance reflects the 2-year period for this cab bank. And if I recollect, it was, I was talking to a clerk, it does come every year and this council needs to approve the ordinance almost every year. Is there a reason that we specify 2-year term there?
I'm not sure if that was something that was put in there, but yeah, you're right about every year. At this juncture, are we able to just change it to the 1 year?
It's a question to attorney.
To the attorney?
Yes, you can. I mean, the law allows for you to use it for 2 years, but there's nothing that says if you want to do it for 1, you can.
It has to come every year anyway, so
You're
why
right,
we
yes.
putting 2 years, right? That was my question.
I'm not sure how it's been done here before, but typically it does come every year.
Yes,
so
always 1 year. This is the first time I saw 2 years, so.
if it's the will of the council to do it for the 1 year, and if we can do that tonight, then that's fine.
Okay. Thank you, Council President.
Okay. Where we did the planning board already?
Yeah.
Oh, we went down to that, we did that.
Communication.
Communications, received the email from Ralph Bucci regarding 2022 municipal budget. Okay, all right, discussion items. Starting off with Councilmember Brescher.
To the attorney, we have that gate that person Edison says they own the road. Do we have an anticipated time that we're going to get to court with him? Any update on that?
I do not have an update for you this evening, Councilman Brescher, but I will provide one to you very shortly. I'll get you an email.
All right, thank you. Sonia, I'm looking for, and I've talked about it, but each department has a certain head count, and the head count has the employees and the vacancies. And I'm just looking for that list so that I know what type of head count we have. Go ahead.
We'll have to scold Madam Clerk. I'm sorry, can you repeat your question again?
Yes, it was that same question about the payroll, where we have different departments that have different head counts, right? And some of them are filled and some of them are vacant, so that I know what we have.
Actually, Mr. Brescher, I have Mrs. Brescher here to answer any personnel questions, so she'll probably better answer the question than I. I know you've asked a few times, so. Mrs. Brescher.
So I just press this.
Oh,
okay. This works. Good evening, Council. Councilman Brescher. So you're looking for the worksheets for the budget for the salary and wage portion?
Salary and wage, each department has an allocation of personnel. Some departments, like our police department, they had an allocation, I think, of like 180 officers in total. What I would get in the past was I would get a document that would show by department, and like the police department, they would list all the police officers and what their salaries are, right? And that's all public record. It's not a secret or anything.
No.
And then it would list the vacancies that we have. Now, I do know vacancies do change from time to time, but what happens is when I know that we haven't hired police or fire, then I know that that money is available, which is unspent, which then could be transferred the following year. So when I look at the budget, I don't look at your budget like it's a budget just for today. It's really like a document for us moving forward. What we do today and what we plan today has an effect on what your outcome is and where you get stuck tomorrow. So for me to come up with, whether the departments are being fully staffed. You know, the numbers might look like we're fully staffing the department, and then I might get that and go, hey, this is the reason why we have garbage in the parks, because we're not fully staffed. We have X amount of vacancies.
Right.
So that's why I look for that document.
No, I understand what you're looking for. The previous business administrator, I worked many years putting together, helping her with a workbook with the salary and wage portions and any ancillary figures that might go into the budget for that portion of it. So there is one that we have for this year and the year prior. So are you looking for last year and this year?
I have last year's, I have the year prior, I just don't have this year. And I just want to make sure that what we have in there too is the anticipated raises or promotions contractually. Like, there are certain steps that we have, so like officers will go through a step, so maybe this year not actually getting a raise, but you might have 20 officers moving up a step.
No,
So that-
yes. I mean, it's a workbook that helps the business administrator go through what we already have. And yes, so if that's what you're looking for, no.
I'm not sure exactly. If you can just send me a copy of what you have, because we have several working documents that are not public. There's several working documents that they're constantly changing, much like a budget when you're working through it.
Yes.
So if you could send me exactly the document that you were provided to last year, then Mrs. Brusher and I can work through that.
Can I send you like a screenshot of a couple pages of it?
If you can send me what you have, whatever you have, that would be helpful.
Okay.
Okay. As far as vacancies goes, what we can do is just tally up the vacancies that we currently have. Because that's just ever changing. I don't know if, when you go to compare apples to apples, it might change a bit.
No, I understand. It just gets me, kind of close, probably within $800,000, But, so yeah, that's all I'm looking for. I can get you the copy that I had from last year.
I'll send it to you. Thank you.
Anything shopping? Oh. Question, and this came up a couple times. There is a field that I guess PSC&G is using as a staging area that I heard they're not working in Edison anymore. They're working in Highland Park. It's like down by the baseball field. And I know we were going to try and get them to clean it up, but are they going to repair the facilities there to how it was before they used it as a staging area?
Councilman Brusher, you gotta speak closer to the microphone.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear quite well. What was the specific area you're talking about?
It's A field or B field. We have a baseball field, and PSC&G is using it as a staging area for all of the pipe replacement they've done. And from what I understand is they're moving it, right, because they're done in that section of Edison. But are they going to be repairing the grounds to how they were before they took them?
I don't see why we wouldn't make that a requirement. So if there's an area in need, what street is that specifically? Because I might have been working on something like that.
That's probably the one you're working on.
Is that Jefferson?
Yeah, I believe it is.
If it's Jefferson, yes, then we've already alerted them that they have to put topsoil and seed the area, make sure that all of the debris is removed.
Oh, okay.
We actually took care of that this morning.
All right. Nope, thank you very much.
Sure.
That's it, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Brusher. Any other council, let me just go to my left. We started from my right?
He started
Okay.
from your right.
I'm gonna, yeah, okay, Councilman Harris?
None, sir, thank you.
Okay. Councilmember John Pointer?
Thank you, Council President. To our business administrator, do you know if we have, and if not, you can follow up whenever, do we have a community forestry management plan?
I'm not aware of one. Is it specific to tree replacement, or what is it specific to?
We applied for Tree City USA status, and one of the requirements is that the township has a community forestry management plan. And in short, it's an analysis of the trees within the township. It helps provide analysis to what could be used to be replaced? Are there areas where there are currently dead trees? And in addition, there's actually a lot of grant opportunity through the state if we have this. So it's just something I'm looking to see if we can implement.
Okay, I'll follow up to make sure that we're following up with the requirements for the grant.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Porter. Thank you, Councilman Porter. Next, Councilman Patil.
Thank you, Council President. Through Council President, question to Engineering Department. Do we know the status of engineering? Excuse me,
Your question E?
not a
Sorry,
question E.
I lost your place. I apologize.
Status on engineering project for the Calvert and Stephenville Parkway, the storm management project, that the design was in place. We had the clearance from all the residents, and I was told, again, this is following up last 2 years. Last year, I was told that we should be ready to kick off this project this year. We are in the month of May.
Storm management, right? You said storm management.
Are you asking if we have a storm management plan? Is that what?
Project, the design was done for the Calvert, Stephenville Parkway, that neighborhood.
Calvert and Stephenville Parkway, he's clarifying the storm management project that was,
Yeah, we are talking last probably 2-3 years now. And I was told that the design was done, everything is done, and hopefully we'll start the project this year. Just want to check the status on that.
I'll check with T&M to see if that was something that they were working on.
Okay. Just follow-up question on that. Did we get the transition from the earlier engineering firm to CME? Like what projects they were working, the current status of those projects, so that they can take over from there? Because I don't want him to be on the blind spot. I'm asking question and he doesn't have the background. I don't want to blame him for
No,
not.
and it depends on the project, so I can answer them as best as I can, and if I can't, then of course I'll follow up. But there is a deviation between different projects and different firms and even in-house. So if there's something specific you want me to look
Yes.
into, I can do that.
Okay, sounds good. My second question through Council President is to administration now. How many service agreement we have with the Board of Ed, and what type?
I can get that number to you. I don't have that at this moment.
Okay, so we don't know what type of agreements we have the Board of Ed.
I don't have that information for you right now.
Anything about latchkey program? Do we know, or we don't know?
I don't know.
Okay, thank you, Council President.
if you can please get those answers, Sonia, when you get a chance, please. Thank you. Councilman Patel?
None, sir.
Vice President Joy Shipp?
Yes, I'm so glad that we have our HR manager here, Mrs. Brescher. I have a few questions because constantly we're being asked these personnel questions. So people at home and everybody, they want to know the answers to some of these questions. So it would be okay if you come and answer?
Sure.
Just a couple of questions for me. Okay, number one, if an anonymous letter has been sent making allegations towards some type of municipal employee, what actions are normally taken?
Oh, is it on? If I were to get an anonymous, I bring that right to the administration's attention. Legal is brought in. What happens is I'm at the HR manager, so anything like that that comes to me would have to be redirected.
Okay, so it goes from you straight to administration?
Yes.
So then the HR management doesn't have that much to do with when the anonymous letter comes in?
No, that usually goes to legal.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, now, I want you to please help me out with the policies and procedures regarding administrative paid and unpaid leave. And can you, please explain to the council members why administration is unable to comment on particular matters? Yeah, why is the administration unable to, say
Well,
stuff
that
about
could be
particular
due
matters?
to a lot. Something might be, it's a personnel matter with an employee. And again, a lot of that comes through legal, that something's going on, and my office is directed to treat something as like an administrative leave.
So that means that it can't be dealt with that way? Because the only reason why I'm like asking you this question, because I keep getting these questions regarding the police officers and stuff that are on administrative leave, you know. I keep getting all these questions from the outside people because they keep hearing it over and over again from the council.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm looking for a
No,
clarification.
no, I understand. I mean, a lot of that, you know, we are, you know, given directions, a lot, you know, mostly from our legal team or administration, you know, through documents, and we're told that, you know, this is how the person has to be coded. And a lot, as you say, it might be, it's in a legal type of thing in some cases, and, you know, so that's how we have to treat it. And again, it is a personnel matter with an employee, so we can't really say much.
So, my understanding is the administration really couldn't give us a direct answer on that.
As Mrs. Brusher just stated, no, we can't comment on personnel matters. So there's a process, I believe, that she just described with regard to issues that may arise and where they could potentially go to, but we cannot comment on anyone's leave, whether it's administrative leave, whether it's health-related or anything like that. We cannot speak to that.
Okay, and another, I wanted this question from last week, the last council meeting. Could you please explain why the mayor is considered as a director of safety?
Well, I thought that was by either ordinance or resolution, so,
Is by ordinance or resolution?
yes.
That's the only way it's clarified that way. Oh, okay. And could you please provide council members with an explanation of why municipal employees are able to work during said events? Like if they have different events in your municipal employees, why are you allowed to work during that time? Like, are you allowed, I should say it better, are you allowed to work during that time?
Wait, I don't understand the question.
Oh. I just wanted to know why municipal employees are able to work during events.
Well, that depends in which department, also, what union they belong to, because if they're working for certain events, they would get overtime. So, you know, and that's when they're brought on to a certain department, that's, you know, when they're having their interview, that's one of the things that is brought up, that, hey, you know, depending on what department, you may in fact have to work certain events, that's part of your job, but you are compensated.
Okay, this is my last question, Mrs. Brescher. I'm trying to find out too about the healthcare system. How do we like expel people from it? And you know, because I'm from the school system, and then they check it, and then if some people have left the place, or if a husband and wife are divorced or something, do you still stay on the insurance?
If someone is divorced and we get the legal documents, yes, they are removed. They're given COBRA for a certain period of time, and yes, they will be removed from the benefits.
Okay, do we do this hastily? Because I know with me being with the school insurance and stuff that I came from, that if I didn't show those documents of my husband being in my house,
that's correct.
It's thrown off.
Yes, anyone that, you know, takes the insurance, they must provide documents, you know, your social security, your marriage, your birth certificate, that kind of stuff. And
So, yeah, and the last thing, Mrs. Brescher, how do we keep up with that a lot? Because I know that's a lot to do, because we have like tons of employees, tons of them. So I'm just trying to make sure none slip through the cracks, because, you know, I'm looking out for the taxpayers.
Okay, well, when someone's brought on, they're given a packet, and we're found if they want to, for full-time employees, if they want to take the insurance or if they want to waive it. We do run reports, contributions are given for the benefits as well. So, but right now, currently, we are doing an audit just to make sure everyone is where they're supposed to be. Meaning we're comparing what's going on with Blue Cross, and it's really for not our single employees, it's more for anyone that has dependent care. And it's in order to make sure that if someone's child may be taken off of the benefits at 26, that no one's using the insurance after a certain point. Or, like you mentioned before, if someone is divorced and they're retired and they didn't, put it this way, they didn't disclose that information, maybe an error, well, I can't say, but this is a way of finding out if there's anything out there that we are unaware of. There's also cases where people move out of state, or they're retired we have some people that have been retired a very long time, and sometimes we're not, excuse me, we're not notified that the person has passed. So this is another way to do the audit, to find out, everybody that's on our benefits should be on our benefits.
Okay, thank you. And Mrs. Brasher, finally, again, I want to make sure I have it together with the administrative leave and the leave is, are we privy to that information or why people are on administrative leave?
When someone's on administrative leave, that's usually coded in the system, so, we would know. And if anyone's on any personal leave or medical leave, yes, we absolutely know.
Okay, but are we privy to it, as I want to know?
Are you privy to it?
Yeah, I want to know if the administration can give us all that information about people.
Well, that I've never been broached with that before. I don't know. I would have to ask legal if that would be okay to disclose.
Okay, because I just wanted to make sure because, because I know we asked for a lot of stuff, and if administration cannot legally give me, which I probably don't think that they can because somebody because of HIPAA and all those different rules.
Yeah, a lot goes on with that.
All those different rules, so but I'll wait for you to come back with the answer
No,
about
I'll find
administration.
out, and I will refer to our legal.
And
Okay,
thank you very much, Mrs. Brasher, for being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Council President,
Thank you, Council Vice President.
you know, as long as Council Vice President brought it up, a question to the attorney that the council, as a body, right, that has to authorize payment, aren't we entitled to know legal matters that are within the town? And I'll tell you where this goes. There was, and we haven't had a closed session on this, but we really should. We had an issue with people on leave, right? And what I was told by our counsel at the time, not our counsel here, but our labor counsel, and what I was told by other employees, turned out to not be the truth. Okay, so this council, this body, was led to believe X was happening, and I actually went down, and a councilman, I had to get to the bottom of it and provide the proof to that attorney, the BA, and the labor attorney, who then brought up another question and told me that I was wrong, which then I got them to talk to someone else that proved that, yes, I'm 100% right in it, which then basically becomes a decision of this body of whether we want to finance it or not, or the administration, whether they want to move forward in a different direction or something. But without that knowledge, this body can't make that decision. So I'm going to request, Council President, that we have a closed session on this so that I could update the administration, our attorney, on this issue, and then let them look into it, and then we can convene a closed session later on at a later date. But they're unaware of any of these facts. And
Yeah. Council President, I believe that our HR manager, Mrs. Brasher, was going to get back to us on that information.
to be honest with you, they wouldn't have
She
that.
she wouldn't have it being an HR manager?
No, it's a legal matter.
Oh, Council Brasher, I think at a later date, I'm open to have that closed session, but I think if we can go through a process with the administration and see if we can get close to some of your answers.
Well, they're not answers. My statement of facts, I don't know that the administration or our attorney know the true facts of this. And my other council members here definitely don't know. You weren't part of those meetings that I had with the mayor and the BA and the labor attorney and our attorney. I was the only one that participated in that meeting. In fact, there were two of them.
Without giving names or anything, what is the subject or area, what area of topic was this discussion?
We're paying people on leave. And why?
As I stated earlier, Council President, Mrs. Brescia said she would get that information about that administration being able to give out all that information from her department, and also our BA, Sonia.
So just so I can properly go back and have this discussion with Mrs. Brescher as well and our legal counsel, I'm sorry, I don't speak code, so I'm trying to understand exactly what we need to actually discuss and go back and get back to everybody. But your question relates to personnel matters, and just to clarify, just to reiterate the point, is that we need to clarify that we can actually have that discussion. Mr. Brescher, I have to be frank with you, I don't know what was done prior to this administration or with the, I can't speak to that, but I certainly want to make sure that I can give you all of the sound legal advice or recommendations, proper recommendations to this body, so without putting anybody in a bad spot, especially if they're personnel related. So I want to make sure that whatever information you may have, that one, we can bring to the council, or we may not. So I can't confirm that right now. So we'll have to get back to you.
Yeah, I mean, if you'd like to meet with your labor attorney and our council vice president, I'd be glad to meet with you and kind of explain, you know, where the truth lies and where and then from there, you make your decision and you run with it.
That's something I'm sure.
Sonia, back and forth, what happens is we have a brand-new administration, so like with all the old stuff, the other stuff that other people may have done under Mayor Lenke, I don't think that it sits with the new administration unless we've written some new codes or some new information at this particular point. That's what I just believe.
And like I said, given my experience, I want to make sure that whatever information you have or may have that is even allowed to be discussed, because I certainly don't want to give out any personnel information that I can certainly get in trouble for. And so I don't want to have a discussion without having the proper legal and sound information to you. You know.
No,
I'm just being frank with you in terms of, you know, having behind closed doors conversations about personnel matters. It's my experience that if I would to deliver personnel matters, an employee would be rice noticed, we would have a proper closed session, and I wouldn't have single conversations with any of you. You'd all be in the same room.
Sonia.
No, it had nothing to do.
Councilmember Brescher, just to move forward for those who are listening and want to get a chance to speak, I would like to see if you set up a meeting separately to get some more detail to this topic and clarification with Councilmember Vice President George Ship Freeman and Councilmember Brescher, and perhaps the labor attorney at a later date can also be involved in another meeting. Thank you.
One other thing I would like you to notice, I want to disclose it. I went to ethics training for the state for 2 hours today, so ethical information and stuff I am privy to. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Moving on, council remarks from the council president. First, I want to thank the council members for getting through our first quarter of this year, and I want to thank the participation from each council member. I received a lot of calls from the last meeting we had that this meeting was long. I have a few things I'd like to mention to the public and those who are listening. Today, obviously, there's not a larger crowd here, so some of this doesn't point to today's meeting because there's not many people here. But first, every council member has the right to ask questions. And as a council president, I do my best to find some balance between the questions they ask and where I can come to an understanding and get clarification on another day. If a council member chooses to continue talking, they have the right to ask questions. And I have to respect that from each council member here at the dais. For whatever that question may be, they're here, you know, on their opinion of their merit to protect the taxpayers, and I have to recognize their questions, and we have to continue. I know that none of you are happy with the long meeting at all. But what I do ask of our council members and for the public is that we remember that those who are listening and those who are sitting here want to speak, and if we could just be as productive as possible for our residents and taxpayers, here today and those listening, so to make sure they can have their questions answered at a reasonable time. We always have the opportunity to move forward and talk about this discussion another day, but I do appreciate that when we reach the point of disagreement, that we can move forward for a vote, or we can move forward to table that particular subject. I also want to ask the members of the public, when you do get a chance to speak, you have your 6 minutes, and it is your 6 minutes. What I do ask is that when we are speaking on the consent agenda, that you stick to the consent agenda, and you're specific to talk about the consent agenda resolutions only. And then you'll have an opportunity at a later time in the agenda to speak on public oral petition remarks. You have your 6 minutes there to talk about any topic you like in the Township of Edison. You can talk about the resolutions that we went through already. You can talk about the agenda itself, or you can talk about another topic, recreation, whatever, so forth. So, again, as we have to respect each other here at the dais, we also have to make sure we respect those who are here today who want to get through this meeting at home at a reasonable time, and also get a chance to speak and their voice be heard, because we do appreciate the time you put in here. And we have so many people in the audience that come consistently and put a lot of time in. So thank you for being here. And thank you, council members, for getting through our first 4.5 months on the council. And we have voted very strong together. We've had many disagreements, and we've had votes that did not go a full 7-0, but they're a lot less than you think. And Cheryl and I are putting together a proposal to just show we've voted together, sharing the mayor's administration vision and our vision in this town. And thank you for your cooperation. Okay, we're going to move forward to our regular meeting. And I have no council president remarks. I finished that in my comments, which was plenty. But first, I need an approval for a volunteer firefighter. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion, have a second, please.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any nays? Madam Clerk, this motion carries. 21, unfinished business, ordinance further consideration, public hearing, and final adoption. Clerk, please read ordinance.
Ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriations limit and to establish a cap bank.
Open to the public. Any comments? Seeing none? Yes, to this resolution 02,
Ordinance.
2143. Ordinance.
Motion to close the public portion.
Can I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? The public portion is closed. Can I have a motion to adopt?
Council President, before we adopt, while you were away, I spoke to attorney as well as our BA, and they agreed to change the term to 1 year. Again, if you have a different opinion before we move the motion to adopt.
Sonia, I did miss that part. From what I understood, was it 1 year cap versus a 2 year cap?
In the ordinance itself, it's a 2-year, but if you read closely, actually, the ordinance itself, and I'll just reiterate that.
Councilmember Teal, I'd like to keep it as is. If you're not interested in voting for it.
Council President,
I
it's not a
understand.
question
I'm
of,
open to your council comments, but it is as it stands.
I understand, it can stay at this stand, but, while you are away, there was an agreement, and if your attorney wants to comment, again, as I said, probably you need to tone down in a different way. It's not about voting on certain items, it's about listening to your council colleague, and if there is a disagreement, that's perfectly fine, I'm not denying on that, but you cannot force just move on and vote on the items.
But listen,
That's the reason I said, if attorney can comment.
Sure.
I just wanted to note
I did.
procedurally that it could not be amended on final adoption, that would have to be.
Right, and that's why I asked before,
You-
but just so we can clarify that portion of the ordinance says, as an exception to the final appropriation in either of the next 2 succeeding years. So as amended, it could change if you had to, right? Is that what the
Well,
option is for? No?
Well, because it's not a de minimis change, we couldn't amend it on second reading. We'd have to scrap the ordinance entirely.
No,
and go
no,
back to first
I
reading, yeah.
understand. I was just clarifying the point in the
Yeah.
in the actual ordinance reading itself.
Yeah,
and
that-
it-
yeah,
Yeah.
You're
No,
correct. I apologize.
Not so much we can't change legally, but that was my question before, was we can't do it on final adoption.
Yeah.
But he confirmed that.
Okay, so there was answer given yes, and now we are saying no, that's perfectly fine. Again, hopefully we do the better job, and that's what Council President I was looking for. Because if I get the conflicting answer, yes, we can change it, and let's change it, and now when we are in the final adoption, we say, oh, we can't change it. And I knew that we cannot change because we are in final adoption, and even though it is a minor change, but you will have to reintroduce the ordinance, and you can proceed. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, make sure the minutes reflect the council members' comments. Do we have a motion to adopt? The motion, that's from Councilman Patil. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Second from Councilman Harris. Any council comments? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Brescher.
No.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
No, because it's 2 year.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Coyle.
Yes. Number 22, new business. Proposed ordinance, public hearing set down for Wednesday, May 25th. Clerk, read the ordinance.
Ordinance amending the Township Code to update the address list of persons entitled to handicap parking spaces.
Council President, I move this ordinance be passed on first reading, published according to the law for further consideration and public hearing set down for May 25th, 2020.
May 23rd.
Oh, Monday, May 23rd, 2020.
Okay.
2022.
Thank you, Councilman
you.
Patil. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilman Pointer. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Coyle.
Yes. 02144, ordinance amending the Township Code to update the address list of persons.
No, we did that. Now we're going to do 45. The one we're added. Just did this one.
Right here.
An ordinance amending Chapter 14, Building and Construction, Subcode 14-2-7 fees.
Motion to introduce.
Motion to introduce.
Which one?
It's first reading.
That's
It's first reading.
reading.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Second. Patel?
I didn't hear. Thank you. Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Coyle.
Yes.
Council President, just a question.
Yes, Councilman.
This is for the new business, right?
That was new business.
Then we can't just say that I move the motion to approve.
It wasn't a motion to approve. Oh, nobody did
You
the
have
motion to
to,
introduce?
you have to introduce the
That was-
motion.
That was, but she,
No, you
No,
can't just say I
wait a
move the
minute. No,
motion to
it's-
introduce, you have to
somebody's gotta
read.
the motion. Oh,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Let's follow the
Introduce.
parliamentary process.
It's a motion to introduce.
Yeah, but you have to say it in public.
Yeah, I have
Council
to say,
President?
okay, motion to introduce.
No, Council President, I move this ordinance be passed on first reading, published according to law for further consideration and public hearing set down for Monday, May 22nd, 2022.
can I have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilman Harris. Madam Clerk?
So we're doing a roll call.
Now you need roll call.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Coyle.
Yes. Thank you, Councilman Patil. 24, 23, I'm sorry, public comments on the resolutions only. Anybody would like to come up? Please.
Lois Wolke, Peak Road, Edison. The first comment I have is on Resolution 283 about the successful tax appeal for $23,450. I read it over. I didn't see who it involved, whether it was a company or a person. Did I miss it in the explanation, or wasn't it there?
Just give us a few minutes.
Okay.
283.
These were settlement contact appeals that were,
Can you go to the microphone, please?
I'm sorry. This is overpaid refund for successful tax court appeals,
Right.
right?
So it doesn't have to mention who was involved? in the-
No,
We
it
have
just
the-
gives a total.
We have the addresses, but we do not have the names, but we have the addresses that were involved in the tax appeal. It's actually attached to the resolution.
Oh, they don't see that yet. That's the backup.
Okay.
Now, the address is 999 New Durham Road.
Okay, because usually they have the person involved. Okay. Second comment involves 3 of the resolutions. Same comment on all 3. The first one is 293 about the $5,600 in wood for the community garden. The second one is 296 for the $172,957, whether it was coming from capital funds last year or this year. And the third one is reimbursement to volleyball teams for ending the season in good standing. Now, my comment about all 3 is there were a lot of unanswered questions. It seems that the council members were not familiar with these resolutions, and this is exactly why we need a work session. These things should all be discussed in a work session, not tonight, not while we have to sit here listening to people who don't know the answers because they didn't have time to discuss it at a work session. And these combined meetings are not good for the people of Edison to sit through 4.5 hours of meetings, and it's not good for you because it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. So I think you ought to reconsider on the basis of the lack of information on these 3 resolutions, not having as many council meetings, and I don't know why you do, but we could ask that later at the proper time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other comments on the resolutions only? Any comments on the resolutions only? That's for oral petition remarks. Resolutions only. Okay. Christo?
For the resolutions only, I don't have the resolution number because you added it. It's the cricket resolution. Council President, I'm going to be speaking through you to Councilman Patil. How you doing, Councilman Patil? I don't understand. I think you should table this. I think when you table it a second time, I don't think you can bring it back again. And like Councilman Patil said, no transparency, no integrity. I don't know if you noticed this, Council President, but he specifically said you have no integrity, no transparency, and then he asked you the question, and you agreed to it. You agreed that you have no integrity, no transparency. I'm going to have to do a little viral clip of that. But I think it needs to be tabled because the last time we had so many people come in here, Councilman Patil, they love their cricket, they're very passionate about their cricket, and I think they would have came back again had they know a week in advance that it was going to be on the agenda. I think it's very sneaky to pull it last minute. I think, Council President, I think you should table it again. I think it's very sneaky. The last time we had some of these cricket members come to the last meeting, they were actually threatened with physical violence by the administration, no less. I was here speaking at the podium, and you can hear the guy crying out, "Council, council, help me." The guy's threatening me. And, people are receiving threats because of this cricket. I think it's very shady to put it back on the agenda last minute. A lot of members.
Christo, the mayor had a discussion with the cricket players, over 35. This resolution could be rescinded in 30 or 90 days. It can be revisited. At this time, I feel the council members want to move forward, and that's all we're trying to do here. So I do recognize.
I don't want to move
Peel.
forward with this. You can find 35 people. What about the other 500 people? You're just going to ignore them? You can't just find the people that agree with you, pay them off, and say, oh, I just got 35
We met with the people who showed up, Christo.
A lot of people didn't show up for fear that they would be retaliated against council president to councilman pressure. If you're telling people, you're asking them for their names, you want to know what their cricket team is. The last gentleman, I'm going to get the body-worn camera of the police officer. He said he's afraid for his life. Why would they show up to a meeting with the mayor when the mayor's administration is threatening their lives? That just doesn't make any sense to me. Again, Councilman Patil, I agree with everything you said. How much time do I have left, Marlena? 2 minutes? I agree with everything you said. No transparency, no integrity. I think the proper thing is to table this resolution. Yeah. Are you aware, Council President Joe Coyle, that members of the public were threatened by the administration? That they actually wrote a police incident report about it?
We're just sticking to the resolutions, Christo.
Yeah, and I'm speaking about the cricket resolution, and this is I'm speaking about what occurred the last time we had the cricket resolution on the agenda. So, I think I'm speaking on the resolution still. Are you aware the last time members of the public came for the very
You're not
same?
sticking to the resolution. This is just a vote on the cricket resolution only.
Okay, I think you should table it. I think everyone that votes yes for it just does whatever Sam Joshi tells them to do. I think they have no integrity, no transparency, just like Councilman Patil said. And yeah, hopefully some of these cricket players are watching and they'll hop in their car and they'll hop over. Maybe they'll get to speak. They still have time to speak on the public comments about it. And if members of the public want to say, hey, don't speak on that, that's not part of the agenda also. What about speaking about it, even though I agree we shouldn't have the combined council meetings, you should call people out of order in the audience, Council President, that is your job. Go back to the cricket resolution. How much time do I have left, Marlena? I'm going to filibuster just like you guys do, so. Again, I think you should table it. If you table this resolution a second time, that means you can't bring it up. So if we have Patil, who always does the right thing lately, Brescher, who always does the right thing, we'll need about 3 other people. We won't get those people. They'll do what Sam Joshi wants them to do. It makes me wonder why we're treating the volleyball people different than the cricket people. Again, the people who use the volleyball facilities, they are using indoor facilities. The cricket people, they're using an outside field that's open to the public. I don't understand why they have to pay to be on a public field that no one's using. It makes no sense to me. Do I have to go pay to eat on a public bench? No. I can just pop out a tent and go hang out at Lake Papiani for a little bit. So why are we forcing these people to pay to play cricket? I feel like you're going against their constitutionally protected activities. I feel you're trying to make a profit any which way you can. And that's just how I feel on the matter. I'll be back.
Thank you, Christo. Any other comments on the resolutions only? Motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close the public portion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Public portion is now closed. 24, proposed resolution. Council members, anything to pull for a separate vote? From my left, Councilman Pointer?
None, sir.
Councilman Patil?
If I know the resolution correctly, it's R276 that was added.
R276.
That's a shared service agreement. if the number is correct.
Thank you, Councilman Patil. Councilman Patel?
R299.
Council Vice President Joyce Shipp?
No, I don't see any at this particular time. Nah.
None? Thank you, Council Vice President. Councilmember Brescher?
R280, R293, and R295.
280, 293, and 295?
Correct.
Thank you, Councilman Brescher. Councilwoman Harris?
None, sir.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, from what I understand, we have, just for clarification, 276, 299 from Councilman Patil, R280, 293, and 295 from Councilmember Brescher. Can I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Council President,
Anything else?
I move the motion to approve the consent agenda, except resolution R276, 280, 293, 299, 295.
Just one more time, could you just repeat the resolutions that were not,
276, 280, 293, 295, and 299.
that's correct. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Second from Councilman Shipp. Freeman? Just hold before roll call. Madam Clerk, you okay? You just pulling them? Madam Clerk, roll call. Motion was by Councilman Patil and second by Councilman Joyce Shipp.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Shipp Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Coyle.
Yes. Councilman Patil, do you want to do yours together or separately?
No, 276, I made the comment last time. I just want to move for the voting. I don't want to make
Okay,
any
thank
comments.
you.
I already
Okay.
did that last time.
All right. Thank you, Councilman Patil. Okay, council members, voting on Resolution 276 of a motion to approve.
Motion to approve R276.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any council comments? Hearing none, can I have Madam Clerk, roll call?
Councilmember Brescher.
No.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
No.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Shipp Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Coyle.
Yes. Councilmember Patil, 299. Would you,
That was Patel.
Patel, I'm sorry, Councilman Patel, I apologize.
Was Nish.
I just want to pull this for a separate vote to commend the administration to start the process on the master plan. Hopefully, this will avoid future warehouses and any more litigations that are going to come up in the town. And I'm excited for this. And that's what I want to pull this vote for.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Seconded.
Second by Councilwoman Harris. Any council comments?
Council
Also-
President?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great step in a process. Mayor did acknowledge this is a major thing, has not done last 20 years, and I'm really excited that we are moving forward with the master plan. Thank you, Council President.
Same here. I just want to mention several people ran for office on this table, and so did Mayor Sam Joshi. His goal was to do this master plan. And I think in this first 4 months in office, we not only put it on the agenda today, but there was a lot of homework being done before this. And I want to thank those involved in that committee. And this is a wonderful opportunity for those who've had several challenges in their community. And this is going to be a home run opportunity. Any other council comments?
Council President?
Yes.
I just wanted to mention a couple of things from the proposal that the residents might be interested in, to know what's included with this, service agreement. The firm is going to provide a website on the township website for residents to be able to interact and provide feedback in regards to the master plan. They'll be holding 6 meetings with the master plan steering committee. They will have 2 online interactive surveys, 2 in-person public workshops, they'll be meeting with township staff and department heads, and they will be performing focus group meetings with key stakeholders. One other item that I thought was very interesting, I think very important for a community as diverse as Edison, is that they will actually provide for certain documents and communications, translations using online resources, so that individuals that where English may not be the first language, they'll be able to obtain this information. I think what was provided in the RFP and the proposal was very sound, and I look forward to the township taking the next step to get the master plan done. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Pointer. Any other council comments?
I would like to thank John Pointer, Councilman Pointer, for explaining that so eloquently to our constituents. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Council President?
Yes.
Can I ask, did my council colleague get to review the proposals?
Not all the proposals. I reviewed the proposal that was provided for this specific, that was being awarded for.
The RFP, or was that their proposal?
No, their proposal.
Just for this one, not for the others?
No, I did not view the other proposals.
Okay. No, that was the issue that I had with the putting it up now was, right, we didn't have the availability to have all of it. But thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Brescher. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Brescher.
No.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Coyle.
Yes. R-280, Councilman Brescher?
Yes, this is just, these are disbursements. I didn't have time to go through them. I've been trying to go through and get these records of, like, departments and where we are. You know, I've been asking, I guess, for the information as to how we were paying for certain things this year with departments that were increased, and I haven't gotten it, so I just don't feel comfortable in voting on the disbursements. That's all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, make sure the minutes reflect his comments. Can I have a motion to adopt? Motion to approve.
Motion to approve?
Councilman Harris?
Second.
Can I have a second? That's Councilman Patil. Madam Clerk, roll call. Patel, sorry.
Councilmember Brescher.
No.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Coyle.
Yes. Councilman Brescher, 293.
Yes. Sonia, we're going to get a breakdown for these, for the community garden to show what we spent, what we plan on spending. I just want to make sure that that's a document that we're going to get. I mean, I'll move forward with it, but I'm just wondering what else is coming down the road, really.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a motion.
Motion to approve.
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Coyle.
Yes.
295.
Councilman Brescher, 295.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if we got an update on the volleyball, where they play.
I haven't gotten an answer yet, so I'll have to get back to you tomorrow if I don't get it by tonight.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Brescher. 295, had a motion to adopt. Motion to approve, I'm sorry.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, Councilman Patil, and then Councilman Patel. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Brescher.
I'm going to abstain.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Patel?
Yes.
Councilmember Patil?
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer?
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman?
Yes.
Council President Coyle?
Yes. Thank you, council members. Communicate with the communications. Most to accept the communication.
Motion to approve.
Councilman Patil, can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman John Pointer. All in favor, say aye.
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 Nays? Motion carries for communications. 26, oral petition remarks. You have a list? Krista, you're up first.
Okay, am I recognized?
Yes.
Okay. Council President to Councilman Brescher, I don't think it's fair to have only personnel here to answer questions when there's no fire. There's nobody else. Nobody else comes to these meetings anymore. That's just, I don't understand that. You're gonna ask for people to pay into the fire department, the police department, and they're not gonna be here anymore to answer our questions. I don't understand that, Councilman Brescher. And Council President, earlier you made a statement. I don't think you made a mistake in your statement. You said public comment, you can speak for Edison, anything in Edison, but in public comment, you can speak for anything, anywhere. You do agree to that, right?
As a professional courtesy, we'd prefer you stick to Edison.
But you
And
don't
health
deny the law says you can speak about anything, anywhere, correct?
If you want to speak about other topics, and,
All right.
and,
As long as we have that clarified. I walked into the building, and we're talking about donations for Ukraine. Well, we already gave neo-Nazis out there years ago 6 billion USA tax dollars. We continue nonstop to fund them left and right. Who are these donations to Ukraine going to specifically? Because are they going to the eastern Ukrainians that the western Ukrainians have been bombing for 10 years now? Who exactly are these going to? Okay, we're not going to answer any questions on that. I find it very hypocritical. You got people that they're known neo-Nazis. They shot down Malaysia Airlines. They shot down women and children in the civilian airliner. And we're just going to send donations. We're already sending, our government's already sending them donations. We don't even have to provide for ourselves. Why are we sending them canned goods?
so I can get you an answer for the organization that's downstairs at a later date.
Because I just hope we're sending donations to Eastern Ukraine, that they're killing them for being Russian speakers. You know, I hope we're equal in who we're giving the aid to. We have people out there, they're throwing up their neo-Nazi signs. To Council President, to Councilman Brescher, to Council Margot Harris. How much time do I have left, Marlena? 3 minutes. Okay, so you had the scumbag president of Ukraine. He recently came to Greece, and all the members left Parliament the moment he walked in Parliament. Normally, you know, they do whatever the West tells them to do, but this time he walked in with 2 neo-Nazis, and they're lucky they didn't get shot. You know, it's not America over there, it's Greece, and, you know, they're lucky they didn't get shot. I just don't want to see our township here supporting neo-Nazis. Here we have in Bayonne, Vladimir Putin donated a beautiful piece of art to the 9/11 memorial, and we just marked his name out. Why did we mark his name out? Are we rewriting history? Are these the same people destroying the George Washington statues, the Christopher Columbus statues? Council President, do we have any? We're not putting up the Ukrainian flag anywhere out here, are we?
To my knowledge, we're not.
I hope not. I hope you don't support these neo-Nazis. And they call it in the news, they call it Putin's war. That can be furthest from the truth. This is 100% Washington's war. This is Biden's war, Hillary's war, Obama's war. 8 years ago, I just want to know how we send $6 billion USA tax dollars to neo-Nazis, that they're out there with sniper rifles shooting at their own people indiscriminately. You have Latvian soldiers, Georgian soldiers. They admit this. They say this on their own TV channels, how they got paid by USA, how they got paid by NATO to go out there and just kill everybody, blame Russia and kill everybody. And one of the excuses they like to use is, oh, it's okay, the president of Ukraine is Jewish. I don't care what the hell the president of Ukraine is. Their army is a bunch of Nazis, okay? So what are we going to do about this? I'd like the Edison Township Town Council to pass a resolution to say Ukrainians, the government there of Zelensky is a neo-Nazi government. We will never support them. And we're not going to take part here in Edison, New Jersey, of this Nazi anti-Russian propaganda. And keep in mind, Councilman Brescher, RT, the news channel RT, Russia Today, completely shut down the moment the war started because it is an information war. They are shoving lies and propaganda down everybody's throats. And, you know, I love the Ukrainian people, Ukrainians, my brothers and sisters. But at the end of the day, I don't support neo-Nazi governments. How much time do I have left? 20 seconds. 20 seconds. God bless America. And as you can see, President Biden's son was doing a lot of dirty business with the Ukraine. They have a lot of blackmail material on Biden. So it just goes to show why we're supporting these neo-Nazis. I hope the other day was. I'm going to finish. I'm finishing this off. Finishing this off. You're not the council president. I'm finishing this off.
I'm just taking a quick break.
Yes. And I'm finishing
Yeah,
this
please,
off.
you could, sure.
And I'm going to say the other day was Victory Day in Russia, when Russia defeated the Nazis. And, you know, let's not forget the lessons of the past. Let's not repeat the same mistakes.
Thank you. Council Vice President, I'll be back
Vice
in 1
President,
minute.
I can act in that, read your book, and then you'll learn how this operates, okay, sir? Thank you. Next. Yeah.
The only one that was on the sheet, so whoever puts.
Oh, okay, no one else on the list, so, okay, Bruce.
I have to, Bruce Diamond, 74 Calvert. I have to agree with Ms. Walke. These combined meetings make you all look pretty foolish. If you are not willing to do homework before you get here, I resent you wasting my time learning about the crap you're studying tonight. You all still don't know what the deal is with the stupid cricket. You have your ideas. You should have brought the damn rec person in here to explain it all to you. Combined meetings suck. AJ, you were talking about transparency, weren't you? Come on, give me a smile. Weren't you? You weren't so transparent at the committee of the whole meetings, were you? Uh-huh. Mr. Brescher, you like transparency, don't you? Should you really be voting on budget issues and things like that when your wife's the HR manager in town?
Yes.
Why? That's a conflict of interest.
No, it's not.
You get health insurance from her, don't you?
It's not a conflict. And what you can do, Mr. Diamond, and I would recommend this to you, you should just file an ethics complaint, right?
I've done that before with others of you. It does no good. Waste of time.
No, but it actually gives you what the law is.
I don't need the law. I think perception here is that you've got a conflict of interest. You shouldn't be voting on the budget bank. You shouldn't be voting on the budget. All nonsense.
Mr. Diamond, I'd like to also inform you that us voting on the budget, we vote on our own salaries and our own wages, and when you see increases, we're actually allowed to vote to increase
I know.
our
I
own
can't wait for that
salaries.
silliness to start because I've already heard you all think you deserve raises and you're not capable of doing the job you're doing already.
But I do agree with you that the combined meetings do extend the meetings makes the public wait to the end, and I think it's unfair to the public. I do agree with you on that one, sir.
Mr. Ron, the Glenville guy had to leave. He wanted to speak about a public advocate for residents of the town when they go to the planning board or the zoning board. I know our attorney has his opinion of all this. It is not fair. It is not fair for me to go testify that I think the light's going to shine in my eyes, and their expert says, well, you're not an expert. How do you know it's going to shine in your eyes? Because I put sunglasses on. I don't know why. I just know you're fibbing to get your applicant plan processed. No one's defending the residents. If you want to change Hank Bignell's job responsibilities to help defend the residents and call out the applicant's attorneys when it comes time when they're testifying and talking nonsense, that would be a solution. But if you can't get Hank Bignell to represent the residents of this town, the residents of this town need some help with some of these silly applications that keep coming in. What do you think of the public advocate?
Council President?
Yes.
I'd like to respond to that. Bruce, I've had discussions with Ron about this, and I fundamentally agree with the idea of a public advocate, especially given the residents' participation and activism that's been going on, and that they dug deep with the Charlie Brown's issue. They dug deep into their own pockets to hire their own attorney and hire their own engineer, and I think that it doesn't stop there. There's going to be many more of these issues there are going to be many more issues coming before planning boards and zoning boards. And I fundamentally agree with it. What we need to find out is what this would look like, how much this would cost, on what basis a public advocate would be paid. But I do agree with you and with Ron.
Have you set up a committee to investigate this, or it's still pie in the sky?
Not to my knowledge. I don't.
Well,
Council
then we're
President?
still just doing nothing. No offense, Councilwoman.
Council President, to his question.
At this time, we haven't set up a committee. It's a discussion I will have with the administration. I think it carries a lot of different boundaries to fund an advocate. It's certainly worth looking into.
Maybe every time, maybe the trigger is the variances that the people, that the applicants are asking for, and the fees for the variances should pay for the public to be represented. It's just not fair. I don't know. You're looking at me, I'm looking at you. Who's more
Chairman,
disappointed
I don't have
than
an
the
answer
other guy?
either. I just,
I
what I
think
know
I am.
from a
Thank
point
you,
of-
everybody.
Thank you.
One thing, Council President, I would like to get a clarification from our lawyer so we can put that to rest, that if you live in a house with someone and they benefit, you benefit from the money they make, you benefit from their health care, you benefit from all the things that they get because of the township, is that ethical? You know, is that ethical or not, sir?
Councilwoman, that I believe requires a more thorough legal review, and I'm happy to provide that at a later date, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other
Now,
comments for the
Counselor,
public portion?
Well, no, Mr. Coyle, I have a question now. I do.
Listen, Mr. Brescher, at a courtesy just to the residents,
Okay.
okay? I'm open to close the public portion. You can carry the discussion on, but people here are waiting. Would you mind, as a professional courtesy, let some of them speak?
No, I'd like the public to have their say, and they can leave.
Okay, who's next?
That's not proper.
Yeah, okay, yes. I'm sorry, if you're first time speaker, Mary, you haven't spoke? I know,
Thank you. I'll be quick. This Friday, Maria Orchid, 83 Jefferson. This Friday is going to be a tricky tray at Edison High, and that May 13th is going to benefit the band and the choir. So if everybody could attend, they would appreciate it. Thomas Edison Memorial Tower cleanup on May 15th. We'll start at 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. It's a great opportunity. If you can come by and volunteer, we'd appreciate your services. Please look at the boat basin. It is in desperate need of repair. I don't know the right words. I'd like to look into the right words to say, but the dock has needed repair. There's 2 docks that have been needing repair since Sandy. They are closed, and they say, keep out, and it's not right. We need to protect the boat basin from the garbage that flows from the river. And we're also doing a cleanup possible in May 22nd for the boat basin. This is a beautiful area, has a beautiful gazebo, lovely view of the water, but it needs help. I think we need trash cans for separate for trash and recycling. Currently, we only have trash cans, and very sparingly trash cans. In other townships, they separate their garbage from trash and recycling. Memorial Day Parade on May 28th, down Plainfield. It's going to be a great event. Edison Community Gardens has a lottery. Please check their website. The lottery is open to all Edison residents. Currently, they have 38 beds. A few of them are going to be grown for the Hands of Hope, which runs the first and third Saturdays of every month. I was going to ask about the master plan update. I see you're working on that. Please keep the residents in mind. Previously, we had an architect firm that came into Clara Barton, asked us questions, what we wanted. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out that way. Instead of the nice, quiet, single-family homes that were there, we're now getting 4 stories, mixed-use residential. The official list needs work. Please look at the municipal prosecutor needs an update, vital statistics, our cable television and advisory committee, their terms are expired. Insurance committees, abilities committee, and a green team has expired. If you could please, and the ethics committee has expired, so if you could reappoint them, we appreciate that. Again, is there a street sweeper schedule anywhere that we know cleaning the streets? And last, promise.
We can
please-
provide you that schedule
Okay,
tomorrow.
thank you. Please check beautifuledison.com for your volunteer opportunities and donations. We thank you for your
Thank
support.
you. Next, public comments, next. Ms. Conway?
Elizabeth Conway, 20 Netherwood Circle. I'm glad to see that we are moving forward with the master plan. I've been a broken record coming up each month and saying, well, we need the master plan to do this, or we need the master plan to do that. But I would ask if there's a way that all the items that you had spoken about, Mr. Poirier, if that could be published somewhere or on the television, or we could get something where the public will be aware of the meetings that we are able to attend and keep us an update. If there's some way of keeping, what's going on, what steps we're going to be taking, I'd appreciate that, and I'm sure many other residents would also. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Walke?
Lois Walke, Peak Road. First of all, I'd like to say I agree with Councilwoman Ship Freeman about the report that Mr. Brescia requested as far as department, personnel, vacancies, et cetera. Mrs. Brescia, HR manager, said she would get that report. I don't think we should do as Mr. Brescia suggested and go into closed session with half the facts again, and then probably come out of the meeting and have to go into another session because we're again going in with partial information. So I think we should get our ducks in a row before we move on things. Second of all, as far as Bruce Diamond said, the people of Edison needed an advocate. I've been going to zoning board meetings since 1974, and I have never, ever heard an expert for the applicant say anything in the applicant's application is wrong or would hurt the people of Edison. So we are being walked on big time. Also, Committee of the Whole, we don't have to discuss it now, but it's 3.5 years, and Councilman Deal had worked very hard to get that moving through. I I don't know where it stands now. I don't know if anyone from this council or our attorneys are following up on it. But just because we got a new attorney general doesn't mean that we should let this thing die. This is still a cloud over the people of Edison. And not only that, there were facts about fingerprints and who purchased stamps. And there was even persons of interest who are elected officials of this town who were persons of interest. Has anything been done with that? I think we have a new mayor. Let's clean up the town. Let's get things the way they should be, and let's start anew. And the last thing, as far as conflict of interest, all you council members, you vote on personnel managers, which include hiring, lawsuits, union negotiations, resolutions that may look innocent but might have underlying personnel consequences. And I don't think that a person on the council who is related to the HR manager should be voting on anything personnel. I brought this up at a former council meeting because Councilman Brescia went into a closed session. I don't think he should be privy to that information. If he can't vote on it, he doesn't need it. And it's definitely, definitely a conflict, and I'd like us to pursue that a little bit more. I'm not accusing anyone, but the perception, with all the problems Edison has had, the perception of another conflict that might cause problems. I mean, we have people who have lawsuits against us. I don't know if you're voting on that or not, but the perception of it is just as bad as it actually happening. Thank you very much.
Ms. Wilkie, when I spoke to Mr. Diamond earlier and asked him to file, an ethics thing, I did it because in all good conscience and in speaking to attorneys before I ever decided to run for the council, okay, I wanted to make sure that everything would be okay. And I did. And to clear it up, to have an actual, you can ask and you can request a ethics opinion, okay, and the ethics board will give you an opinion on that, and it's based upon the state law. So if I would have had any kind of conflict or something like that, I wouldn't have ran for this position. If you noticed, I'm not actually Mr. Builder friendly here. All I do is question the dollars that we spend. But to put the public at ease, I'm requesting that somebody actually put that ethics opinion in, so that and the public knows that there is no conflict. That's all that I'm asking, is as opposed to, I know you feel that it is, but if you put it in, they're going to give you the reasons why it's not. And those were the questions that, came up in my mind before I ever decided to run, to be quite honest with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Through Council President, if I may, does the attorney have any kind of feeling or anything? I'm putting you on the spot.
The question's just been raised this evening by the Council Vice President, and I will do my due diligence and provide an opinion, but it's not something that I can comment on this evening without doing my homework.
Okay.
And
I'm
Council
absolutely
President-
not accusing anyone or saying this might happen, but let's say there's a vote, and it might jeopardize the position of Human Resources Manager, a $105,000 position a year. Would it influence a vote? I don't know. I'm not saying it would, but it's just something that I say we shouldn't have to deal with as a township.
Ms. Wilkie, I do understand your direction of what's going on, but in most cases, we vote 7-0 here. So unless it's a tiebreaker vote, I would believe that it wouldn't be a conflict.
Council.
But, Councilman Ship.
Because, and Elizabeth Conway will know, because she was on the board of Ed before. She was on the board, different boards. Now, at that time, when I said at those meetings, those people recused themselves from voting on certain things. They recuse themselves, and they take, they don't vote on it. So that's what, the information and stuff and some of the ethics information I've gotten this morning, that's why I want him to clarify everything so all of this will get out the way.
Absolutely. And as far as leaves of absence, I used to go to a lot of the
Time
Board
is
of
up,
Ed
Ms.
meetings.
Wilkie.
No, I
Done?
took up to, I
Time
took
is up,
20, I
yes.
took up 20, I took a little bit
And
of her
I
second.
probably
She could
took
talk
up
1 second.
2 minutes of her
I
time
understand.
also.
Fine, fine.
Want me to
We
sit
took
down?
a
No,
little
no,
bit of
listen,
her
if
time.
you
Let us
can
take
wrap,
another minute.
if you
Let
can
us
wrap
take
it up,
another
that's all I'm
minute.
asking.
No, she could take another minute,
Listen,
because we took our time.
She took some of my
Uh,
time.
it's,
I just want to say very quickly, the Board of Ed, they publish every meeting a list of people on administrative leave, maternity, this, that, the other thing. They give reasons, and I don't see why we can't. Thank you.
okay.
Council President,
Any of that, yes.
at the end of public comment, can I make a comment about the public advocate?
Yes, yeah, well, we close, after we
Thank you,
close the
sir.
public portion, sure. If that's what you're asking, absolutely. Just remind me before we adjourn. Mr. Tar?
Don Tar, 52 Reeder Road. I'd like to begin by just directing a few questions through the council president to the committee council. Is it correct, sir, that you have a retainer that you operate under in representing this body?
Yes, he does have a retainer.
You have a retainer.
He's a vendor.
And if you exceed that retainer, there's a process involved where the committee can vote on adding additional funds to that.
Yes, that's what we usually do.
Isn't it a reasonable assumption, and I know you can't comment on previous attorneys who sit in your seat.
Mr. Tar, I just don't want to make this a cross-examination. I know.
It's
I'm
not a
sure- okay.
cross-examination, I'm trying to
Okay,
get some
just-
points across.
Sure.
Isn't it a reasonable assumption that an attorney like yourself and the previous attorney would give the best advice they can to the council?
I believe he does. And every counselor we've had so far has done a great job.
And isn't it also reasonable to assume that if there were any illegal provisions, procedures, or items adopted by the council, that that attorney would tell the body?
We believe it'd be his duty to make sure he informs us before we make a decision.
Okay. A month or two ago, you were tasked with finding illegal provisions by Mr. Brescher that had been adopted by this council. In your due diligence, did you discover any?
Could you just can you clarify your question? At what point?
Mr. Brescher asked that he review all of the provisions, all of the resolutions that were previously adopted to pull out the ones that were illegal. Did you locate any illegal ones?
It's my understanding we
Never asked that.
You haven't.
that question specifically was asked in a different direction, but I do remember the question.
But you have not discovered any to this date.
Okay, sure.
Councilman Brescher has asked me to review various portions of the code and asked me for my legal opinion on those portions of the code. I've never been asked to do a full code review. I can't tonight speak to, probably Councilman Brescher would be better to speak to that about what specifically he wanted me to review, but any council person who asks me to review an ordinance, to explain it, or to talk about its legality, that's my job, that's what I do here. I advise the council on different portions of the code and its legality.
Okay. I'm looking up at the Township of Edison seal there, and it says, "Let there be light." And I'm kind of wondering about whether there is light. You know, the question has been bannered around this evening about conflicts of interest. And Ms. Schiff Friedman brought up a very important point. If you're a member of a board of education and you have any direct relative who benefits from your board membership, you're required to recuse yourself from voting on any budget, any starting salary, any place on the salary guide, or anything that benefits that particular member of your household. Now, I'm not certain whether this is necessarily a legal issue, but I'm sure it's a moral issue. And there has to be morality involved here in addition to ethics. Counsel has indicated that he's not totally aware of whether there's an ethical violation in doing that, and I take counsel at his word. I've been involved in legal opinions myself for many decades, so I know you have to research it. But let's go beyond that. It goes beyond the ethical. It goes beyond the legal. It talks to the moral. And there is no moral way any member of this council can be involved in voting on budget caps, budgets, or increases in exceeding the municipal budget. There is no moral way that can be done. Take it as you want. You can hide behind the ethical, you can hide behind the legal, but you'll never hide behind the moral. And that's where I stand. So I believe Mr. Brescher should recuse himself strictly for moral reasons, if not ethical, if not legal.
Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Tarr.
Council President.
Yes.
I'd like to just make the public aware that these insinuations or these attacks came up because I questioned our police department in paying overtime for a certain division that certain council people and certain people in the audience that just spoke are relatives and beneficiaries of this. So when they come up here all high and mighty, why don't they come up and explain that their problem was that I'm questioning overtime? Now, we do know that Mr. Tarr, I believe, did work for the school system. And Mr. Tarr does know that Board of Education members do not receive any salary or compensation. So therefore, they can recuse themselves on certain things. But council here actually receives pay from the town. Using Mr. Tarr's analogy, we would have to recuse ourselves from giving ourselves a raise, or every member here would have to recuse themselves. So it's just a matter of logistics and law. And Mr. Tarr, to me, just seems like he's confused. That's all.
Council
Council
President,
Brescher. Thank you, Council Brescher.
I believe Mr. Tarr said moral issue. I believe that's what he said the most. It was a moral issue. Nobody was attacking anybody. The person that attacks 90% of the time is saying people are attacking them. And for people to get something, you have to live in the house with the person. In order for you to benefit from the salary, from the help, you have to live in the house with a person.
Now,
Can we go to the next speaker?
well, no, Council President, I was talking, and I don't want to, I hate to count, correct.
That's the floor.
Council Vice President, but to be quite honest with you, when she said you have to live in the house, that's a lie. Read the statute with the school. Any relative, it has been expanded by the state to say any relative. Son, daughter, they don't have to live with you. It's there. They just expanded it for the Board of Education. Ms. Conway, am I correct? See, so. Ms.
It's not,
Freeman,
we're not on the Board of
been-
Education, sir.
minute.
We're not
Joe,
on the Board of Education. We're not,
Okay, excuse
we're
me,
not on the Board of
Councilwoman
Ed.
Shipp.
We have a floor.
Shipp, let's just recognize Mr. Brescher
Yeah,
and finish
I
so we can
like
get to
Mr.
the next
Brescher
speaker.
because, I'm sorry, but Mr. Brescher likes to twist things to make them seem like they're simpler in the way he expresses things. But, you know what I mean? As it was discussed, it said morally.
Council members, we're just going to finish up with Mr. Brescher. Mr. Brescher, would you wrap up till we get to the next
Yes,
public?
all I was saying was that what Ms. Shipp put out was wrong.
We
That
can't,
information was
Mr. Time,
wrong.
we can't have,
He can do it, I can do it. You want to throw him out? I'm quiet.
Councilman Brescher?
That's it, Council
Continue.
President.
Next member of the public, Ms. Tark, please come to the microphone.
For starters, Mr. Brescher, Lois Tarr, 52 Reeder Road, Edison, New Jersey. My son, who you just accused of getting overtime for not doing anything, has rarely, if ever, taken overtime in this whole past year, and in fact, in his 27 years on the police department. He's a patrolman. He has never applied for or taken a sergeant's exam because he loves working with the people in this community, not for his own benefit nor mine. Now, some questions I have for the council and the attorney. The $350,000 retainer that you get from the council, as council, and I believe that's also for the administration, correct? It's for both council and administration?
It's an amount not to exceed. So we're
Yeah,
calling it a retainer, but
it's-
it basically, we bill hourly up
That's,
to an
that was
amount.
my
That's
question.
correct, yeah.
It's billed hourly till it gets to that point where
Correct.
you use up the hours, okay. As you just described, Mr. Brescher calls you and asks you, and also asks you to look up ordinances and whether things are legal or not legal. And of those, have you found any illegal or questionable ordinances that came from the council? I'm not going to say illegal, questionable.
Certainly, I mean, I have rendered my opinion on prior ordinances. I think Councilman Brescher and I have had different opinion about some prior ordinances and whether they're enforceable, I guess is probably the word I
Okay,
would use.
so-
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you debate with the attorney about the law
Yeah.
on the phone,
Yeah.
and every time you pick up that phone and he answers you, that's a billable hour. So, Mr. Brescher, who you are attempting to tell us how you protect the taxpayers of this town, you are wasting our taxpayers' money, sir. Please stop.
Ms. Tarr, I'd like to just comment, because I guess what happens is we have laws. We have a law, and it says that the mayor has to notify council if he hires anyone over $50,000 in total compensation. The law was put in place because the budget is not given to us on January 1. And our charge is to know that what we're approving for the mayor, that we can afford to pay for it. Not that we go and hire hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of bodies. Now, the part of the law was the attorney told me that it was kind of unenforceable because we cannot restrict the law of the mayor. So while the council doesn't have the approval the way our ordinance is written, so that we don't have the authority to tell the mayor who he could hire and not hire, right? That's not our job. There's only certain positions that we can do that for. But we are charged with approving funding. So that ordinance there, I haven't been able to speak to David about it, but I believe needs to be amended so that it is a fully legal, functioning, and enforceable ordinance.
Councilman is correct. The ordinance that he referenced unduly restricts the role of the mayor in his hiring function. And when that was brought to my attention, I advised Councilman Brescher of that.
And is that the only ordinance he questioned?
No, there were others, yes.
Thank you. The other question I have for you, Mr. Brescher, is,
They're all similar, Ms. Tarr. They're all very similar where
yes,
they're not
do you
being
believe that the rest of your council people are not qualified to do their job?
What's that?
Do you believe that the rest of your council people are not qualified to do their job?
I believe that all my council colleagues are capable of doing their job.
Okay,
yes.
then why don't they have the same questions you have? Why do you waste our taxpayers' money with questions that are inane and self-aggrandizing?
I don't know why they don't ask. I ask questions that are on the agenda, and no council people ask them. We don't have the information. Not one council person has a question. Your question needs to be directed at them as to why they don't ask those questions or demand those documents. That's all.
Thank you, Councilman Brescher. I just want to recognize, I was going to recognize former Councilman Len Zondowski. Thank you for coming. I didn't know you were going to speak yet. You're waiting so long to speak. He always dresses nice.
Yes. Good evening, everybody. Len Sandelsky, 66 Richard Road. Just have a couple things I want to say. I think we need to give Mayor Sam Joshi a chance. I think we're like 4 months in, a little over 4 months in, and he's done a lot of positive things for the town. And we need to give him a chance to follow through on the things he said he was going to do when he ran for office, such as adding on to the senior center, such as the community gardens, which I think is already underway, such as the turf fields at Papiani Park, which was on the agenda today, the master plan review. And I think we got to be positive as a council. Positive meaning that glass should be half full. Edison is a great town. We can do great things when we work together. But we have a few people on the council that are always negative, always going against whatever is coming up, including things like public safety, like a safety boat, which the fire chief had asked for a few months back, and Councilman Brescher voted against it And thank goodness the Commissioner Tamaro came through with the freeholders and the commissioners, and they got us that vote. Some people voted against some police vans. Now, I think we need to be positive. I think we need to do positive things, and working together, we can do positive things. Also, I would like to commend Councilman Pointer for doing an excellent job so far on the planning board. He's been doing an excellent job, asking great questions. For someone with not that type of a background, he's doing a great job. And I'd also like to say that I agree.
What about
with-
his reports? I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I didn't read his reports, but I didn't see his reports. But he's asking good
As good
pointed
as yours.
questions. Well, his name is John Pointer, so he's got to ask good pointed questions. But I'd also like to agree with Lois Tarr. Her son comes to all kinds of events, Christmas events at the Edison Tower. So he is a good community person. He is there, he's helping the community, he's dressing up, he's got Christmas lights around him at the Christmas events. So he does a lot of good things. And I also like to agree with Mr. Tarr. We're talking about Mr. Brescher, we're talking about moral and ethical. We're not talking about by the book. We're talking about what looks right for the public. And because we're council people, we're held to a higher standard. And I hope you guys work together in the coming months to do that, to see and give this mayor a chance to do the positive things we need to do for Edison Township. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council
Thank you.
President?
Thank you, former Councilman Leonard
Council
Sandusky.
President.
Yes.
Yes, I'd just like to let Mr. Sandusky know that, yes, we are very supportive of the mayor. I think if you look at my record, it's probably like 95% is the stuff that I have approved. I just ask questions is all, and I don't get answers, and when I don't get that, I don't vote on it because I don't feel that I'm supposed to unless I get the answers. Now, Mr. Sandusky did bring up certain things, like about how I didn't support our police and fire. While he sat on this dais, our police and fire have been undermanned. The people in Edison were running with less than the 21 men, the 3 guys on the fire truck, which we just agreed to with this mayor, okay, to make the Edison residents safer. The fire department had to sue for that, but when Mr. Sandusky sat up here, we were short manpower. We were short over 20 police officers, okay? And I just, the public seen what happened, and, well, he didn't get reelected. Subsequently, I voted on a budget that was, to my knowledge, that I felt was enormous, but the reason why I did was primarily public safety. I was guaranteed by the administration that we would fully fund police and fire, and the administration did. And that's why I asked the current administration if I can get the vacancies, to have, because that tells me then that you're continuing the same policy of the past administration, which is to make sure our police and fire are fully funded, as far as our manpower. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you.
Council President,
Oh, sure.
I
Yeah.
to Councilman Brescher.
Is that a rebuttal that he is now?
Yes. Yeah,
I
didn't
think
use
he
up my-
still-
I
he
didn't
still
use up
has
my
the
6
same-
minutes.
He
I
still
didn't
has
use up my
the
6
same-
minutes. I'd like to use up like my 3 minutes that I
You
have
have
left.
2.5 minutes.
So,
if you're good.
on my term on the council, I never voted against any budget. When the mayor requested additional police, fire, I was always voting in favor of it. Never voted down. I know there's other people that did, but I never did. And the mayor is in charge of the staff, as you know, Councilman Brescher. That's the way it works under our form of law. So when the mayor needs more personnel, he asked for more personnel, and when he did, we voted in favor of the budget, okay? So things like when the fire chief comes up here and asks for safety for the residents, like a fireboat, and you vote against it, that's a problem for me, because the people of Edison deserve the best services, the best equipment to save people. And I appreciate that our commissioners came through and helped us out with that. I really do. And I just want to finish on a positive note. Let's try and work together instead of against one another. I think the new council people are doing a great job. You're learning on the fly. You're going to your classes. You're learning stuff, and you're doing a great job. Support this mayor. Give him a chance to follow through on his commitment to the people of Edison. And that's all I ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Council President.
Yes.
I'm just going to make just a quick, that's all it is, just a quick statement. This town was incorporated, couldn't even tell you, 1950, whatever, 54. Since 1954, no one ever requested a fireboat for the fire department. They had a boat. The boat was able to be used. It was in a first aid squad. So that's where the question came. Our former councilman sat up here, and no one ever needed a fireboat, but now all of a sudden we need a fireboat. My question was only, are we going to need a helicopter next? You know, what was a need for the fireboat at the time? And it wasn't explained.
Let's just move forward.
Yeah, we'll move forward. And Council President?
One more speaker.
Council President, what has happened since 1954, because that's been like 68 years ago, climate change and everything else has happened. Ida, Sandy, everything. And I want us, if some seniors or someone are stuck somewhere when it's flooding, I want us to make sure we save those people, because I don't know about other families, but my family, they live to 90. So I want somebody to be with a boat somewhere to help them get out of the place. We can't determine at this time where a flood will be within Edison. But we need to have more than one boat, because if it's flooding down on Plainfield Avenue and it's flooding down by Inman Avenue, that's going to be a hard problem for us, because there's a lot of seniors down that way and there's a lot of seniors up the other way. So I'm just looking out for the seniors. And on that positive note, each seniors, I'm looking for a senior advisory committee. I forgot it the last time I was talking. That senior advisory committee, just call the mayor's office and let Mary McAvoy know you want me on my senior advisory committee, because I want to make sure that all the things in Edison that are being taken care of and our seniors are, happy. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Member Shipp. Yeah, Christo?
Thank you very much. I'm very disgusted at what's going on right now. Sam Joshi broke his campaign promise to create a master plan in his first 100 days. As you can see, R299, he can't do it himself. We're going to spend $160K when someone offered to do it $50,000 less. Look at Weehawk and the place they also did. It looks like crap, Councilman Brescher. So here we go. The same people talking about ethics. Joyce, you said he took an ethics class, ethics classes. All the ethics, it's expired. You should put me on the ethics board. I have my ethics complaint against Biral Patel, and it actually went through. The same people talking crap about Councilman Brescher, they give their nephews a promotion in the police force. They give, whether it's their daughter or their niece, $10,000 increase in their pay in zoning during the coronavirus pandemic. That certainly sounds like 100% ethics complaint. The other people that come here related to Officer Jackson, I've seen Officer Jackson at one of the events. I have it recorded. The IBA event where Sam Joshi's, Governor Murphy's state troopers are actually assaulting me, and Jackson not only does nothing about it, he lashes out at me and covers it up. If it was up to me, he'd be fired automatically. I think it's an ethics violation that, hey, did he get his job because his relatives were Edison Democratic Committee people? That seems like an ethics violation.
It's not
Are you cutting my time?
I am stepping
As
to
you
your
can
time.
see, the same people.
It's not necessary.
This is my rebuttal. I have an honest rebuttal. So
You have 3 minutes.
I know I do. Please stop interrupting me. As you can see, here I am sitting down. They're dropping F-bombs on me. You refuse to keep order. These are the very same zero integrity people that I had my civil rights violated, and Captain Todd assaulted me and removed me. And now here they are coming again to what's supposed to be a productive meeting to come here and lash out at Councilman Brescher for no other reason but their political agenda. I see them as political operatives. We need to call this out. I'm not cursing. I'm not talking about anything that's outside of Edison. Are you trying to stop me from talking? Because I believe promotions in her family, whether it's raises in her family, are unethical. Whether their family member being put on the police force, I think that's unethical. I think the only reason that person got the job is because they're Edison Democratic Committee people, and they come to these meetings and they lash out at whoever they're told to lash out at. So of course they give their relative a cushy job to do nothing at events. And they don't just do nothing, they cover up when actual Edison residents are getting assaulted, time and time again.
Krista, there's no
Would you,
reason.
would you like to put me on the ethics board?
No reason for
Would
you to continue
Would you
to-
like to put me on any of the boards?
Your time is
I'm
up.
sorry, the same way you don't stop them, I also have
Time is up.
legitimate grievances. Councilman Brescher, my grievances were legitimate, and they were legitimate rebuttals.
Listen, I certainly want to speak to the comments that Officer Jackson is a great officer. He's been involved in our town. I speak for the members of this council, and I don't think I'll get a challenge. I speak for the administration, who's known him for a long time, and I don't think you'll get a challenge. He's done some incredible things in the community, and he's done some things that I may not do when it comes to getting involved in Christmas and launching the Mr. Grinch and different things to keep engaged in the community, and drug addiction awareness. He's been at our side many times and has offered us continuous information on our addiction awareness and our suicides and our different overdoses. So I am in touch with him and the command staff on a day-to-day basis, and I truly admire the work. And I will not allow this to continue to put down an officer that does great work for this town. Thank you, Ms. We had one more speaker? Okay. Well, Mr. Christo, your time is up. Christo, I'm going to tell you, you got to stop right now. It's the last call. Last call. In the back, the gentleman speak in the back. Okay, Ms. Walkie? Ms. Walkie, please come up.
Lois Wolke, Peak Road. Very quickly, I'd like to say, Councilman Bresci, you sort of lumped us all together with having an agenda. I have to say, I've lived here since 1971. I've never worked for the town. I have never had a relative work for the town. And if people know me a long time, I've asked for financial disclosure statements. I've asked for job descriptions. I've made complaints to the ethics board. Yes, I do have an agenda. I have an agenda to be proud of my town and make sure the people who are elected do what's best for our town. And yes, that's my agenda.
Thank you.
Council
Any other
President?
public comments? Ms. Tar?
Council President, I have a right to comment.
Sure, you can comment.
Okay. Yes.
This has to be a rebuttal.
Yes, it's a
Ms.
rebuttal,
Tar,
just
you have
as a
3 minutes.
just a rebuttal
Mr.
and
Brescher, did you want to say
clarification.
something first? I'm sorry, you had the floor, go ahead.
Yes. What I wanted to say was, I mean, it's pretty apparent. I've received text messages from people from the public that what this comes down to is a hit job on me today. This is like the coming out, I guess. And Ms. Wilkie, I know that you know, the feeling is that you don't want to be part of that type of thing. But if we really look at what happened here tonight, right, I guess over the last few meetings I've been questioning not the character or the moral character of any of our police officers. That's never come up in any sort of a question.
You're lying.
No, that's not what I was talking about. What I was questioning was how we actually schedule things, and we schedule overtime, and whether the police chief has the authority to change schedules. And that's where my original questions came when I was asking for how much money did we spend for certain departments within the department, okay? Because my feeling is that those departments can be modified so we don't have to pay the additional overtime. The overtime is always available to our officers to work overtime and side jobs. But then what I see what happened here was, I see that the administration decided that they were going to bring my wife down here, right, who has probably in 25 years never attended a council meeting. Yet I do not have my police chief here, my fire chief, my DPW director, or anybody else that anybody here is normally used to seeing. And then what happens is we get Joyce Shipp-Friedman, who gets to interrogate the employees about the questions that I've been brought up, of which then it looks like you were prepped on the same issues. So when it says, does this look like a hit job? Yes, Ms. Wilkie, it does look like a hit job to myself.
Thank you, Mr. Brescher. Ms.
Council
Tar-
President,
Yeah,
Council
listen,
President,
Miss-
those questions were the questions that Mr. Brescher wanted answered. So who better to give him the answer than someone he lives with, like Mrs. Brescher? Those were the questions that he stated each time. And for him to sit up here and tell a bold-faced story after he called me all kind of terrible names up here and say that he never attacked anyone, that's why I slammed the table, because guess what? I don't care. You don't have to like me, but at least tell the truth when you open your mouth. And stop playing the game, oh, poor me. If you want to know why, less of us ask questions, because you know what? We asked Sonia, the business administrator, her office is open to us at all times, so we don't have to do a theatrical production. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Freeman. Yes,
Just a clarification, I never got involved with the Democratic Party till long after my son had been appointed, made a police officer for over
yes,
10
no,
years.
I'm well aware of
And
that.
you know
That's a
that,
fact.
Councilman
He
Brescher.
was
And
way before.
in terms of a hit job, nothing was meant to be a hit job. It's just that the public is getting tired of questions being answered, being asked over and over again, and the answers that are given, not being accepted.
Thank you, Ms. Tar. Motion to close the public.
Well, wait.
Motion to close.
I'm sorry, one more. I'm sorry. I didn't see you
Oh,
right there.
we
I
forgot the other
apologize.
one.
Sorry,
I apologize. You're on the corner there.
I'm gonna make this, I don't wanna put well, here's the thing,
You don't answer to
YouTube
him.
private thing, just call me AJ Benz, Edison, New Jersey, all right? I just wanna say this, I'm proud of you guys, what you're doing, but all what this young man just said, you guys, we have to give Sam Joshi a chance, all right? We have to.
Hey, please
We have
direct
to-
your questions to the
We
council.
have to start giving Sam Joshi a chance. I know there's a lot of questions are not being answered. We have to start doing a better job. The other thing I wanted to say is I do not want any in this administration making threats of something with cricket or anything. You can't be doing that. I don't stand that. You said something about that. I don't stand that. I cannot have people making threats from cricket from this administration. That cannot have it. Joe Biden will not have that. The Harris, the Joe Biden, you say that to Joe Biden will rip you a new one. You'll be out of the White House just because you made a threat or made that person very small. He doesn't play with that. That's all I'm going to say. But guys, please, let's literally work together and let's get things done. We are the light of Edison, New Jersey. I keep saying that. We are the light of Edison, New Jersey. That's why there's lighting points. Let's start doing what we need to do. I wish there was a mic drop because I'm done. Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Any other public comments? And motion to close the
Motion
public
to close the
portion.
public portion.
Second.
Councilman Patil, Councilman Shipp, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The public portion is closed.
No,
Councilman
Council-
Porter, you had,
Council President.
Councilman Porter, this meeting is not adjourned. Councilman Porter, do you have, please, everyone,
Thank you, Council President.
Yes.
Just to address,
this meeting, please, this meeting is not over. Councilman Porter?
I apologize, and I'll be very brief. I know that we are running a little late, but to address Mr. Diamond's point about the public advocate, I've spoken to Mr. Loeffler hours upon hours about this particular item. I'll give two particular specifics about the other ordinances within other townships, which include West Orange, Oradell, Fair Lawn, Berkeley Heights was the original. The first is that there has to be pure clarification on how the advocate is paid for. There's contract law that needs to be satisfied, and even in the ordinance that was shared with me today by Mr. Loeffler, one was a revision of the ordinance based on that note alone. The other item is when the advocate is actually triggered. Each of the other ordinances have variations into how they actually come about, right? When do they actually get called on? That type of clarification I would need to know prior to advancing. The theory of it is definitely good, but these are clarifying points that all of us would need to know before making a final decision. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Porter. Have a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Councilman Patil?
Second.
Second by Councilman Harris. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any nays? Motion is, this meeting is adjourned.